Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 450. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Brett Murdoch.
What up?
And Brian Manjoma.
What up?
All right, people, we're back with 450 episodes of Throwdown Questions, and now officially we are 900 episodes into this version of Throwdown, man. Crazy stuff. Yes, you already know, man. What's going on in the chat? We got my man 2DX, Jeffrey in the house. Yo, me and Jeffrey went to go see They Live, as 35th anniversary screening. Yes, They Live, Roddy Piper and everything. Fucking awesome on the big screen, man.
Nice.
Barry Burton always holding out. Mighty Nerds, Logic wins. And you know motherfucker's going to show up later. All right, quick things. Manny's going to show up later. I believe he's having dinner out there in the Seattles for PAX. And Adam, his kids are not going to school tomorrow, which means they're up, which means they're keeping him away from the show. So no Adam action tonight. So apologies for that, you know. Anyway, this is the AMA special. And we're going to be going in, people, because since there is no work for me tomorrow, I'm like, fuck it. Let's take the chains off. 3 questions for people. Let's get it in, you know? This is going to be an epic show. It's going to be old Throwdown proportions and shit, you know? And I was looking at all the questions beforehand. You guys asked some deep shit, man. So a lot of these questions warrant long answers, you know? So let's get right into it, man. Here's a name we haven't heard in a while. Ronan, man. Remember Ronan?
Oh, damn.
My man. You know, he goes, Throwdown crew, hope you're all doing well. I don't have as much time to game or listen to podcasts, but I wanted to say congrats on hitting the 450 mark with the coalition. Yeah, man, you already know. Good stuff.
Appreciate it.
All right, first question here. Have you guys ever, this one, you know, it's a segue question, I always call it. It's like kind of gaming, but leads into other shit, you know? Okay, have you guys ever boycotted or refused to give money to a company, and for how long? I just purchased Street Fighter 6, which brings my boycott of Capcom games to a close. I had animosity towards them at first, and just didn't give them time or attention, and went on for about 15 years. So he boycotted Capcom for 15 years. But yeah, so I guess, you know, gaming or otherwise, is there a company that you just boycotted and refused to ever go back to them?
I think I just lost interest more than actively boycotted things.
Yeah, I think that's probably correct. There's some now that I'm like, I think I'm not going to, you know, fuck with this company anymore. Like the other day, I'm not going to get into it, but I think you guys will understand this one. The other day I was trying to buy some like shaving cream, and the first thing Amazon recommended was Gillette. I'm like, nah, I'm good. No more Gillette for me. You know, if you know, you know.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
I think that's just more one of those things that might actually be closer to what I'd call a boycott. It's not even one of those like, this brand really put me off.
But I think I just really, it is for me. It is a boycott because that's all you bought. Oh, Gillette razors, Gillette shaving cream. It was just what you know that even for Dominicans, we don't call razors, we call them Gillette. You know, so it's like, all right, no, I'm good. You don't get my money. You know, same thing with a certain. Even I never drank this beer. If you know what I'm talking about, I never drank it. It was just piss water to begin with. I'm really not gonna fuck with it now. You know. But you're right, Brett. Most of the time, it's more like, I just lost interest in this thing, you know.
I'm gonna call that a soft boycott. Like I got a soft boycott on Marvel right now, not because.
Oh, I have a hard boycott on Marvel right now.
See, I feel like
Marvel
a hard
comics,
boycott has to be one of those like I'm not doing something on principle, right? Like it's different if you piss in my Cheerios, right? Because then I'm not eating those Cheerios because of principle. I'm not eating those Cheerios because you pissed in them and they're not really enticing anymore. Like that's where Marvel is. Like this just seems like fucking hot garbage water lately. So really not super interested, but not necessarily against it. Just kind of like, this is garbage. Same with like the live action Disney movies. Like I think it's a fucking travesty what they've done to a bunch of them. How dare you do that and think you can upstage animation movies that were some of the greatest of all time.
But Brett,
I'm an animation nerd.
but the movie came out in 1937. Apparently so. What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, yeah, that's. We're talking about Snow Brown and the Seven Dudes.
Yes.
Oh,
Like, it was made in 1937. We're gonna update it to make it better. Okay, let's see how long your movie lasts. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I mean, and it's definitely not just that one. It's just about everyone they've done. They just kind of lost the lead, and like as a big animation nerd, like the fact that you can be like, hey, you know that thing that was the high watermark of handmade animation that was pretty much only doable because we exploited the fuck out of people in sweatshop conditions. So like, we literally just bled this out of the animators. Yeah, we did a better thing than that by making it worse. Like, it's just in general, it's just garbage. So, as offended as I am at the hubris to think that you made fucking like Mulan better, I think it's more one of those like, oh, you just made it awful. Why would I want to watch this?
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you current day it, But we're not going to get into that either. I'm going to go down the line here. Chris, is there anything you boycotted? Is there anything you boycotted?
I'm pretty much done with Activision.
Yeah.
I think I'm just fuck 'em. I've been pissed at a lot of decisions they made, but I think the whole Nick Merckx thing with Modern Warfare 2 was like, all right.
Oh
you
yeah.
guys. I'm done. I'm not giving you money. Especially Call of Duty. I'm done with that franchise. Period. Fuck that.
Oh no, Chris, this is it.
This is the one right now.
This is
different this year.
This is different.
Oh man, but yeah, that was I was thinking I was mad about Street Fighter with 5, but I still got 6 after you guys recommended it. So that wasn't really a boycott. I was like, you twisted my arm. All right, it's back. All right, but that was just because 5 was such a trash fire. I was like, all right, I guess I'm done with Street Fighter. But now they brought it back. There's nothing else. I'm with you, Gillette. I don't buy Gillette anymore. I stopped. Yeah, after that ad campaign, I was like, yeah, man, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm good. Marvel and DC Comics. I'm done. I'm done with that shit.
Oh yeah, I do indie comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my collection of stuff I love. Like I got my Invincible. I got some of my older comics, but the new stuff, like new Marvel and new DC, trash. All trash. Forget it.
Yeah. The only new comic I'm reading, there's one I can't talk about, which I'll get canceled if I mention it. But I will tell everybody, check out Titan Comics' Conan the Barbarian. It's awesome. The artist, I think his name is Roberto Del Toro. This motherfucker draws like John Buscema's insane, and Conan's doing what you want, because remember, this is not a big company. They're indie, so Conan's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Killing motherfuckers and fucking hot girls. I'm like, yes, It's great. Anyway, Brian, is there anything you've boycotted or are actively boycotting?
I don't really boycott as such. I just, as you say, I just lose interest. For example, Gillette. I used to buy them, but then at a certain point, I was like, it just seems rather expensive. And then I found a different brand, and then that whole thing happened, and I was like, oh well. That's a shame, I guess. I don't know. I didn't buy it, so hence I just didn't care because everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm going to stop buying it. It's like, well, I never bought it in the first place. And then with Bud Light, it's like, again, I never drank Bud Light as in general. So hence I was like, I'm not really boycotting it. I just don't drink it because I think it's awful. So yeah, even with games, I guess you can kind of say I did a soft boycott with Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2, the original. But it wasn't really a boycott. It was just kind of like I just didn't enjoy them anymore, so I stopped buying them. So I don't know if that counts as a boycott. It's just kind of like, yeah, I don't enjoy them, so I don't buy them. That's me. I just kind of lose interest and stop buying stuff.
Yeah. Carlos, anything you've boycotted or just lost interest in, you don't give your money to anymore?
I boycotted Sprite after that ad campaign. And then I boycotted theaters after that ad campaign. Yo man, that shit doesn't quench your thirst.
Sprite.
Yeah, I don't like actively boycott. I don't know. I don't watch as much stuff. I think movie theaters, like, it's kind of like a soft kind of boycott. It's like I'm not gonna go watch any movie like I used to. It's more of selective. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Moving on here. Next question. Also from Roman Ronan. If you could separate a company or brand from the parent group that acquired it for no reason other than your own personal satisfaction, what would it be? He goes, I'd pick Instagram. I hate that Facebook Meta snatched it up. Interesting question. So, yeah, if you could separate a company from, I got one. BioWare. Take it away from EA, you know?
Yeah, I feel like BioWare's too far gone.
Yeah, I know they probably are too far gone, you know.
Let me ask you this, Tony.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think EA is probably going to kill the company pretty soon.
I mean,
but at the same time, Brett, I know you're going with this. Maybe they deserve to die.
Actually, no. I was going to go with, like, I didn't realize until I saw a timeline about a week and a half ago that, like, BioWare got bought pretty early. Like, in terms of what we think of, like, classic BioWare got bought pretty early, and most of what we consider classic BioWare was actually BioWare owned by EA in their first years of being owned by EA. And it wasn't until, like, Andromeda that it really shit the bed, but that was a while after they got acquired.
Yeah, but, like, they had, you know, the first two Baldur's Gate games. They had Knights of the Old Republic. They had Jade Empire. They had Dragon Age, the first one, had the first Mass Effect. They were going pretty strong, you know. Like, yes,
Did
obviously.
They have the first Mass Effect? I thought it was only Dragon Age.
No. The first Mass Effect, they were still independent. You know, it was with the second one. Remember, the first game was only Xbox exclusive, right? Then when the second game went after EA bought them, it's like, no, this shit's coming out on everything. You know, and they were still doing good. And then, you know, after 3 and Anthem, you know. But yeah, again, that's the first company I could think of, like, BioWare. But at the same time, the people who made BioWare are no longer there. So even if they separated, they probably would still be shit, you know? But I can't think of anything better right now. What about you, Carlos? Is there any brand you would separate from the parent company?
I can't specifically say which ones, but probably most of.
I got one for you.
Go for it.
Blizzard. Separate them from Activision.
Well, speaking of too far gone, Blizzard's probably more than BioWare.
Yeah.
So I guess this isn't a specific answer, but just any.
Anything. Yeah.
Drug patents from big pharmaceutical companies, I guess.
Shit.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I can't think of any, because social media companies I don't really care about. You know, and a lot of the, you know, tech companies I can't, you know, Skype, that's gone. A lot of the things that have been ruined by being consolidated into a bigger corporation is kind of, at this point, it's like damaged goods.
Yeah.
So it's really meaningless to try to spin them off.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Brett, what about you? Have an answer for this?
Who was it that just bought part of FromSoft? Was it Tencent or Sony?
I don't remember. But I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember who. So
I'll look it up.
Them. I think FromSoft should run wild and free.
All right, fair enough. Brian, what about you?
It's both.
Oh, it's both? Oh, shit, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, okay. Both.
Yeah, Brian, what about you? What's your answer?
What's the question?
The question was, if you had the power to separate a brand from its parent company, who would it be?
I don't really have one, since most of the ones I would have chosen have been shut down by EA.
Oh, shit.
So I guess I can kind of piggyback off Brett's answer and go with BioWare and, well, anything that EA has.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, what about you?
Everything Disney has bought in the last decade.
Yes!
20th Century Fox, Marvel, Lucasfilm. Split them all back off.
I agree with that. I agree with that because Disney has done nothing but just ruin these things. You know, all of them ruined. You know,
yeah, it hasn't been a good track record, has it?
No, it hasn't.
All trashed.
All like Marvel, all that
Endgame
everything.
trash.
Not that, that was good. But like in the last 5 years now, after Phase 4, basically all that shit, terrible. Again, I was thinking about this. Nothing good has come out of Phase 4, in my opinion. It's all been terrible.
I would disagree with Chris on the Marvel portion because at least we got Phase 3, and
but honestly, that was all shit they inherited from Paramount. All that was happening, right? Disney just fast tracked it, and they had the money to do it. But all of that stuff, including Kevin Feige and everything, they imported from Paramount. The Paramount was already doing all of these things. They were just doing it slower. And Disney's like, nah, this is hot. Buy it. And then they started fast tracking it. They created Marvel Studios. And Phase 3, all of that was planned. They just executed it. Why do you think everything has fallen off ever since Disney has now had 100% of the writing and direction on Phase 5? It's all fallen apart.
Well, did Paramount hire the Russo brothers? Because if they did, well, I would agree. But if they didn't, then because I felt like
why hasn't Disney kept them? Why hasn't Disney kept them for anything?
Because they wanted to do their own thing.
Nah, everyone has a price. You can't tell me that.
Well, not the. I mean the what's it called? The dudes that did Game of Thrones, they wanted to leave while they were working on the last season of the.
Well, that's the Lucasfilm stuff, and that's another problem. While Marvel has seems to have a retention problem with directors, you had Kathleen Kennedy kicking directors off of stuff, fired Lord and Miller off of Solo, hired Ron Howard to reshoot 80% of the movie, right? What happened with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? That guy got kicked off. Movie's unwatchable. Sam Raimi reshot 90% of the movie. And this track record of just botched things and scrapbook filmmaking and all this stuff, it's terrible. It's destroying film.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I feel like we got some of the best parts or some really good parts, and it all went downhill after Endgame. But at the end of the day, I felt like a lot of it we wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for Disney's budget. I mean, they put in the money for all what was the last couple of phases that were good. The Lucasfilm stuff, I mean, I agree. The only thing is that I still think Kathleen Kennedy would still be a huge a part of Lucasfilm even without Disney. Since she was
George Lucas
by Lucas.
George Lucas was running shit.
He was calling the shots. Yeah, Lucas was calling the shots. He's not a part of anything anymore. She would be there, but not really as influential as she is now, where she is basically calling the shots.
Yeah, I still agree. I still agree with Lucasfilm, with Lucasfilm, but I still think that it wouldn't be as great. I mean, it wouldn't be great. I still feel like it'll be kind of shitty. Kind of like it is right now.
Yeah, right. But I mean, you look at the stuff now, and you go back and watch the prequels. You're like, hey, it's not so bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's a bad thing because it's not like one of those hindsight things where you're like, oh, the prequels were not as bad as I remember. No, they're still bad. They're as bad now as they ever been. It's just that the new shit is so terrible it makes the prequels look better in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're talking about the movies. If you're talking about the movies, yeah, then I would agree. But
and nuking the extended universe, a lot of people are still pissed off about that.
I'm still pissed off about that.
As you should be. Yeah, exactly.
I never thought I would actually unironically whisper the words, I miss the midichlorians.
Yeah. This is what they brought us to, people. This is what they brought us to. Again, I never in my life would have thought, the prequels aren't as bad as they are. I mean, they're still bad. It's just in comparison to this dreck, Anyway,
did you ever think you're going to be like, I wish Boba Fett were still dead?
Yeah, I know.
I know. God. Everybody wanted him back, and then you got him back, and it's like, no, I kind of wish.
Put him back. Put him back.
This is some monkey paw bullshit.
Oh man. All right, yeah, put it back, son.
Throw them back.
All right, last question from Mr. Roman Ronan. Name one comic book writer or artist that you think deserves more shine for their work besides Emilio Lopez. I like that. Mine would be Patrick Gleason and his run on Green Lantern Corps. Patrick Gleason's a fucking awesome artist, man. I'll give him that. My answer is Mike Waringo. I thought his run with Mark Waid, back when Mark Waid still knew how to write, on Fantastic Four was fantastic. Rest in peace to Mike Waringo, man. We lost that guy too young, you know? Fantastic artist, man. Great. Chris, what about you? Who would be one artist or writer, one comic book writer that you think deserves more shine?
Man. Shit. I don't know. I mean, does John Romita Jr. get enough credit?
Yeah, I think he does. He's like a fucking rock star, yeah.
He's a legend. I'm not sure. I mean, I like Dale Keown. He was great. His run on Hulk, when he did Pitt,
you know.
He did recently. He did that Future Imperfect run. They brought back Maestro, so he did that Maestro run for Marvel, and that was actually readable. I was like, holy shit, this is actually good. So he deserves more shine.
Yeah. Brett, what about you?
I think I'd say Gabriel Rodriguez. He did win an Eisner Award, but I still don't know enough people who know who he is.
I think that counts.
Cool. He did. I knew him from Lock and Key, which was some of you old time listeners would know. Honestly, one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. It was awesome. Way better than the series was. We'll come back to that later.
Yeah, right. Hey, Jeff, are you talking about Dave Stevens? Because he said the artist of The Rocketeer. Is it Dave Stevens? I'm looking it up right now. Carlos and Brian, I don't know if you guys know any comic artists or writers. If you want to,
shout out to Carrie Randolph and Emilio Lopez.
There you go. Well, Emilio was there, but yeah, there you go. Carrie Randolph. There you go.
Can't say.
What's up, Brett?
Tony, what do you think? Does Jamie Hewitt count
as a artist?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Tank Girl and the Gorillas.
Oh shit! See, if it was just Tank Girl, I would say yes. But the Gorillas is fucking huge, so.
But nobody knows his name. Like, that's the part that kills me. I'm like he made a career for himself, but like, I don't know. In my opinion, he should Tank Girl is one of the greats. Like, totally biased, by the way, 100% biased. But like, that dude can draw his tits off.
Yeah. You know what? I'll let it go, even though it is a little slightly cheating because that guy fucking millionaire probably. But yeah, because I could be like, I think Frank Miller when he drew Daredevil is underrated. Got be very
here's
specific.
The thing. He's not known for comic work. He's known for the Gorillas, which is kind of like an animation project.
Yeah.
But
he's known as an artist, though. But you're right. But he's not greatly known as a comic book artist. So I think that is enough to qualify.
All right.
Let's go with that. Brian, do you have anybody by any chance?
Nope. I don't know enough about behind the scenes comic book stuff to know.
Yeah. And you know what? For fun, manga. Who is a manga artist that you think is underrepresented or whatever, underrated?
Again, I don't really follow the works by author. I just kind of read whatever seems interesting to me. I don't know. I'm tempted just to say Junji Ito, as that's the only one that I know. Because everyone else kind of has done big things. For example, Kubo does the Bleach stuff, which he's known for. I was thinking the Chainsaw Man guy. He does really cool stuff before Chainsaw Man, but it's very dark stuff. So I guess I'll throw him in there. But again, Chainsaw Man can't put him on the spot. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know enough to fully answer that question.
Yeah. What about you, Carlos? Manga? Why not? That's comic books.
And you know who it is? Is a manga guy.
The manga god.
I feel well at least in the West. It's probably not in Japan, and probably not for weebs either. But Naoki Urasawa, who did Monster and 20th Century Boys and Pluto, probably some of the best manga out there. I feel like he deserves a lot more shine, in particular because a lot of the stuff that he's done, a lot of manga readers know, but it hasn't been adapted to anime. So he still hasn't gotten as much shine, as an Oda or as a Togashi or something like that.
Yeah, good stuff. It's funny. The one time I acknowledged manga is comic books, Manny isn't here because he's always like, they're comic books. Like, that's manga. All right, next up, Ace Ali. This one's funny. How often, if ever, do you read questions or prompts for Throwdown and roll your eyes, facepalm, sigh in resignation over how disingenuous, loaded, or outright foolish they are? Damn. There's been some questions in the past where I'm like, bro, what are we doing right now? Where like I could see where they're trying to steer the question in a certain direction and shit.
They used to be worse, by the way.
They used to be a lot worse. I think you guys, the current crop of you guys asking questions are doing a pretty good job. But yes, back in the day, they used to be a lot worse with that, like just blatant, why are Xbox fans this? Why are Sony fans that, Yeah, no, it used to be a lot worse, but there's sometimes where I'm like, bro, what are we doing here? And I purposely didn't want to call anybody out, but I will call somebody out. Black Metal Gamer, when he asks us those crazy questions that we can't even ask without getting canceled. Like, bro, what are you doing? We're not going to be able to fucking even read this question on air. Like, what are you doing, bro? Oh, man. But yeah, we don't want to call anybody out or anything. But yeah, no, Carl's right. Back in the day, it was a lot worse with the questions, It was just blatant, It's very rare now. It still happens on occasion. I'm like, what the fuck kind of question is that? But yeah, that is rare, All right, next up from Mr. Ace Ali. I'd like to know more about the panel. Outside of gaming, Throwdown, and your professional work, what are the activities that you spend most time on? What other hobbies do you find time for or enjoy that you'd like to have more time for? What are some things you'd like to get into that you might not have much experience in currently? A lot of questions in there. I'll go down the line. Carlos, you go first.
I guess one of my biggest hobbies is just, more than gaming. Just by listening to me in this podcast, you might think gaming is my number one hobby. Or if you pay close attention, you probably don't think it's my number one hobby.
You probably don't even think you're a gamer at all,
Yeah. So, gaming is probably one of the in the lower in the totem pole in terms of hobbies. But one of the main ones is probably sports. I used to play a lot of sports back in the day, but now it's more just watching. But watching sports, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, I like them all. So I like watching sports. I used to go to a lot of concerts, but that kind of died down. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's read manga, watch anime, like all the kind of usual stuff that a lot of people do. But I think from in the panel, I think what distinguishes me is sports. I used to travel a lot. I don't do it as
Adam's
much
the other
now.
sports guy,
Yeah. Adam is also a sports guy. I don't think he watches as much as me. I think he's more just like Premier League and soccer.
He's into soccer. Yeah, that's what he's into. And if you counted, wrestling,
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's definitely
it's sports entertainment,
Even though it's scripted, it's still a sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much. There was another question attached to that, I think.
The general is like, what other hobbies do you have? Actually, no. What is something you would like to get into if you had time for it that you may not be too experienced in? So I kind of mentioned this. I like traveling a lot.
I wish I could travel more, but unfortunately, work and other stuff, it just doesn't allow it. If I was able to get PTO for like 4 months out of the year, I'd probably be traveling those 4 months. But how things are, that's not possible. So if I had the time, I would travel a lot more to different places that I've never been before. There's so many places that I want to go that I've never been. I haven't been to South America. I haven't been to a lot of Africa. A lot of places I would like to go.
Yeah, man, you got to visit all the continents.
And Antarctica.
And
also.
Antarctica. I was going to say just the habitable ones. I
want to go to Australia, New Zealand, man. Shout out to Tumeke.
Yeah, he just showed up too. Let's go. Okay, it looks like I'm next here. I dabble in a bunch of stuff. I like reading novels, right? I recently got into like Gundam building and shit, but that's already done because I'm glad you're here for this because you're like, Tony, how come you're getting into that? You said you didn't buy collector stuff because you don't have any room. Well, guess what happened? I ran out of room, so I'm done with model building and shit. So that's done, but that was fun while it lasted. The next thing I'm going to try is I'm going to build my own keyboard. I think that is going to be a lot of fun. What else? I like going to concerts. What else do I like doing? I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. I like does listening to podcasts count as a hobby? I don't know if it does.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I listen to non-gaming podcasts, obviously, just so I could list, I'm not going to name them, but there's a lot of podcasts. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of my free time when I'm not doing those other things is listening to podcasts, just so I could absorb more shit. I like history. What happened, Carlos?
Oh yeah, I was about to say I'm similar to you, like history, science, a lot of that stuff. I feel like we have that in common.
Yeah. I like to read and watch podcasts about that stuff, history and science specifically. I like that stuff. I think that's pretty much. I don't really have a lot going on, man. Like I was telling somebody at work, I live a pretty boring life on purpose. I like this is why I look younger than I actually am. I don't have any stress in my life. I like it this way. There's this one cat at work. I'm like, I told him, my life is the opposite of yours, bro. He comes in every day with something. And I'm like, damn, it's crazy. I can't be living like that, man. I like my life easy and chill, I don't know if hanging out with the homies counts, but I like doing that too. That's probably the thing that brings me the most pleasure out of anything I do in life. Like outside of material shit, hanging out with the homies, drinking beer, talking shit. Nothing beats that, man. That's like the best shit ever, Mm-hmm. All right, next up here, Brett, what hobbies do you like besides gaming? And also, what hobby would you like to get into if you had more time?
Let's see. I like the rest of you guys. Big old science dork. I like space. I like history. My particular passion projects are like weird occult history stuff, philosophy, and quantum physics, which I know is a weird bag, but it makes sense if you dig into it enough. I'm a huge animation buff. And all around kind of big old story nerd. I think that'd be the one thing if I had more time, or if I didn't go into visual arts, I think I would have really liked to have gotten into story writing. In fact, I came real close a couple of times, and I'm just at that point where I've researched enough where like some people would be like, "Oh, you've ruined it for yourself." I honestly think like it makes it better knowing, and Tony and I have talked about this before, like knowing the hero's journey and like the expanded story circle version and basic themes, and like I feel like that all arms you to not only be a better writer, but to appreciate better writing more. So,
Hey, Brett, I want to go back. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I kind of want to talk to you about this. Right, when you learn that shit, you can't unsee it, man.
Oh God, no!
You cannot again. I went to a screening of They Live. Remember, I've seen this movie a bunch of times when I was a kid, but I'm watching this now, knowing all this. I'm like, oh, there's the midway point. Oh, there's the darkest night of the soul. There's the resolution. Like I saw all the beats. Like I can't turn that off now. Even when I was playing Final Fantasy, a big 80-hour long game, like there's the initiation point. Oh, there's the midpoint turn. Oh, there's the darkest moment. Oh, here's the confrontation. I'm like, damn, it's just everywhere.
Yeah, I'm coming up on the end of the game because I just hit my beginning Act 3 beats. Yeah. Like it. You think it's going to ruin it, but honestly, I don't think it does. Yeah, I think a lot of people look at it and be like, "Oh, that's going to make things worse." I'm one of those people. I believe learning how the sausage is made, I think, makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
So,
this is going to sound really funny. The first time because I started studying this stuff about like 2019, I believe, 2018, 2019, when I started like trying to write my own novels and stuff. And the first movie I noticed, and this is going to sound so stupid, I went to a screening of the stupid live action Pokemon movie. And I'm like, oh shit, all the beats are there. It's hilarious.
Honestly, that movie was probably written by Formula, so that's not a bad place to see it come out. Like, it's the subversive masterpieces that make it difficult to define those. But although even them, like I have to say, like the new Spider-Man movie, man, like I've had time to sit back and metabolize it. And the first Spider-Verse movie, I came out of it and I was like, there is no way that movie is as good as I thought that it was. And I had time to sit with it. And I was like, fuck, that might be one of my favorite Marvel movies. Like, and in my top 10. And, I went into the second Spider-Verse kind of, being like, I know there's no way this is going to be as good. It's not going to do it justice. It's going to be a sequel. But, like, if it's anywhere within the realm, I'd be happy. And I got to say, that shit was brilliantly written. The pacing, the places and the times that they dropped the exposition dumps, like, just the structure and everything about it. I didn't feel like the music was as good. I did really like how they played with some of the styles in a meta-narrative kind of way. So, took some away, added some more. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. No doubt about stories and animation, obviously, which is why weird these motherfuckers never invite me to go watch on otaku shit, but that's fine. That's fine. I am bitter. I am mad. Other than that, man, it's... I like learning, and I host D&D roughly once a week or so. And that ties back into that storytelling. So I guess that's not as multifaceted as I thought, but whatever.
Yeah, I noticed most of my hobbies are related to, the thing is, like, what I do for work is related to shit I like. It's just, why do you think I got into it? Because I like video games. I wanted to write about games so I could get paid for it. Now I'm just doing tech stuff, but I always liked tech. So it all kind of works together,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not even like it's just video games also kind of land like right in the middle of that. Like, what do you like? I like pretty visuals. I like philosophy. I like story. So like I'm exploring all those things separate and on all their different various forms. So, like, of course, I like reading sci-fi novels. Of course, I like sci-fi and fantasy novels and shit. Of course, I like running D&D. Because that's all story. Of course, I like video games because that's story and animation. So, yeah, I'm kind of a one-trick pony. Yeah, but in all of its various facets.
Yes. So. All right, Brian, what about you? What hobbies do you have outside of gaming?
Oh, protecting the fun one.
Or king. And protecting the king.
And protecting the king.
Biscuits.
Yes. Okay, where it starts. So let's just start off with what you guys have already mentioned. Like you guys, I'm a massive science nerd as well. So I love me some quantum physics. Yes. I love me some space. That's why I put, I think, close to 1,000 hours in Elite Dangerous, and most of that is literally jumping between different solar systems, scanning planets, seeing what life's on there, seeing like how much gravity there is, how far it is from their sun, and how big the star is, and is it close to death. Visiting neutron stars, visiting black holes, visiting red dwarfs, visiting red giants, all that fun stuff. I love that. Like Elite Dangerous, I can keep playing that game for the next 5 years, and I really would not be that annoyed, I think. With that also comes my love for science fiction, particularly time travel stuff. I don't know why. I just find that a lot more interesting. And I guess as a recommendation, since Brett, you mentioned that you also like some time travel stuff. Had you seen the not Amazon Netflix show Dark, made by a bunch of German people?
I don't know that I have.
It's 3 seasons. It's like an hour each episode, so it's a long one. But it does involve some time travel and shenanigans. And that's all I can say.
I'm putting it on my list right now.
Please do, because we just finished it now, and it's one of those ones where you really need to keep track of what's going on. It's not one of those films where you just like, okay, well, it's films. It's not one of those shows where you just passively just enjoy it. There's lots of threads running, and they often overlap. And keeping track of all that, it really gets to you. I think I was able to keep track up until midway season 2, 3. No, midway season 2, end of season 2. And then after that, I was like, okay, there's just way too many threads. I honestly cannot remember everything that's going on now. I'm now just lost. But yeah, it's good sci-fi. It's fun sci-fi, interesting as well. Also, The Expanse. Thanks, Tony. We actually watched that. We haven't seen the latest season yet. Just stuff happening. But yeah, I thought Expanse was quite fun. Again, love me some space stuff. Anything that involves space, I would gravitate to more. Hence, Starfield.
Gravitate towards.
But I'm pissed.
I did it, Tony. Damn it.
Oh man.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for Starfield, because it's stuff in space. So okay, let's see. With that, I guess I can kind of go on to cars. I love me some cars.
Here in my car. Anyway, go on.
I've been spending way too much time just researching what my first car will be. Keep note that I don't know how to drive yet, but I've just been spending an unhealthy amount of just researching. I spent an hour and a half researching the Honda Civics between I think 2012, 2015 model, or the bubble ones as they call them. If you know that, if you don't, then don't worry. So yeah, I spent an hour and a half just researching those year Honda Civics, which one's good, which one's bad, which one's to avoid, what trim is good. Probably not. I'm not going to get a Honda Civic anyway, but that's how much time I'll just go through and research stuff. And in case you're wondering, Subaru Impreza, because everyone's always like, oh yeah, so what's your favorite car? Subaru Impreza. It just sounds amazing and it sounds cool. And it's Japanese. You just can't fault Japanese cars for their reliability, hence Honda. Yeah, that's why I'm playing Forza at the moment. After I unlocked the Subaru Impreza, I think the 2005 model, I've just not changed cars because I don't care. I have my car, I'm going to drive it until the end of the world, and that's it. So yeah, love me some cars. I think cars are great.
Brian, I have a question.
Yes, go on.
So when you made the move, is it more suitable for you to have a vehicle at this point? Is that why you?
Yes, because I'm now outside of London. Because driving in London it's just not worth it in any metric. First of all, getting a car is expensive, as everyone that has a car knows. You get the car, get the tax, then get the fuel and MOT and servicing and all that stuff.
Insurance.
And then of course the stuff breaks down, you replace it. So that's registration. Expensive. And then from there, it was a case of actually parking it at work. Because what I looked at the cost for the parking at work would actually be more than the cost of public transport per year. So I'm like, so why? So it does make sense to have a car, because I can't even drive it into work, and that's usually where I go to more. So it's like, okay, there's no point. But now I'm outside of London. It's like, okay, it makes sense now to have a car, can drive around, go to cool places, and there's no ULEZ charge. Thank you, Sadiq Khan, for that nonsense. So yeah, it just makes a bit more sense now. So hence I'm heavily invested into it. So that might be my goal for end of this year, start next year. So who knows? Yeah, I'm not heavy into car culture, as in I'm not heavy in like modern cars, because I think that's a bit too much for me because of the cost involved. I've seen people they spend thousands on modding their cars, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's like the same people that have like those souped up PCs where they have custom water cooling loops and they have like custom AIBs for all the different cards, and everything's is liquid cooled with pink goo, all on the same loop, and also like, okay, enough. Okay, that's too much for me.
One day,
as far as I'd go is
hey,
maybe
dog,
like
I heard you like liquid cooling, so I got liquid cooling for you. Liquid cooling.
like as far as I'd go is possibly just like paint jobs, cars, and maybe like interior trim, and that's about it.
Okay, I'm gonna have glowing green goo. I'm gonna set up Ninja Turtles inside my case.
Yo, Brian, you're not gonna be into car culture until you put those RGBs.
What, those underglows?
Those underglows RGB lights.
Yeah, exactly.
Those cars happen first, man. But yeah, oh my gosh, Need Speed 2? No, yeah, Need Speed
for Speed
Underground 2.
Underground 2. There you go. That's what I learned about that shit.
I spent so long just trying to match the glow with the paint jobs. It was so much fun, and the hydraulics. Oh, that's amazing. At one point in my life, I really did want to get an Impala 6.4 and then get the hydraulics because it just looks so damn cool. But now it just seems.
No, I'm laughing. Brooklyn Bear said that shit will get you spotted easier by the cops.
But then it just seems completely impractical. But I guess at that point, when like if you have enough money for that, then it doesn't matter at all.
Wait, how would you get that?
Who's the perp? The motherfucker with the RGB lighting under his car.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, go on.
Yo, Brian.
What's up?
So a 64 Impala, like, are those easy to get in
No.
in the UK?
Nope. They're pretty much expensive as all hell, and the import fees are through the roof, and even finding one is just, yeah. But again, if I had that much money, then it doesn't really matter. It's worth it, I guess.
Yeah. Any other hobbies, Brian?
Any other hobbies? Just keep things brief. Working out. I love me some working out. I'm not like one of those gym bros. I tend to stay away from the gym just because I just don't think it's worth having a gym membership, in my opinion. You can just do most of that stuff at home.
You don't want to end up on a TikTok, do you? Some girl going, "Oh, he's looking at me."
Those videos infuriate the crap out of me. It's just like, I know why they're doing it, and it's the same reason why most women do anything on the internet. So I was like, just ignore it.
Yep.
So yeah, I mostly just work out at home and go for jogs. I don't have any special gym stuff. Is it calisthenics or kinesthetics? I always get those two mixed up. The ones where you use your own body weights as the resistance. That's what I try to adhere to. Following from that, cooking. I do love me some cooking. Yes, thank you, Carlos. I love me to cook. I watch lots of Gordon Ramsay stuff, watch lots of Jamie Oliver stuff. My girlfriend loves MasterChef, so we're always just like watching that for ideas on what to do. The one thing that we've noticed is that all the other MasterChefs, apart from the UK, they're all the same. The UK one is very timid and watered down compared to like everything else. Because like in the US one, it's like challenge this, can they do this, can they do that? There's enthusiasm, excitement. The British one is very British. Everyone just kind of like just walks in, and then the guy just says, "Okay, it's time to cook now," and then they'll just calmly cook. It's very strange. Like just watch one episode of the US one, and then one episode of the UK one. The tonal difference is so jarring.
I heard the The Great British Bake Off is like a huge thing over there.
Oh, it's a massive thing. We love watching that as well. It always used to come on the same time that we'd have our lunch, so that was like our lunch show, and then we'd just be watching, see okay, like who messed up this time, what's the challenge, what would they do differently, whatnot. So yeah, I love some cooking stuff. I think we only have a takeout maybe once a month, if that. The rest of the time, we're just cooking stuff from scratch. Like, I cook pasta from scratch, cook gnocchi from scratch. I bake pretty much every other week, different stuff. I was doing banana bread before everyone else started doing it. I just have to put that out there. So, yeah. What else? Yeah, cooking.
Could you, Brian, whenever you meet Tony, can you make him a pineapple cake?
Nah, I'm not eating that shit.
I don't like the sound of it by what Tony has described, so I wouldn't even touch it myself.
Don't.
It's the same thing in most Hispanic cultures. They go ham on that fucking pineapple.
Oh my God. It's just, it's very telling that both me and Manny, Puerto Rican, Dominican, have the same horror story from when we were kids, you know? Remember, we grew up separately, you know. I didn't know Manny until we were 13. We both had the same fucking story from when we were kids with the goddamn pineapple cake, you know?
That shit seems so weird to me.
No, it isn't weird because it's the cheapest fucking cake you could buy. That's why, you know?
I mean, I get, like, okay, so here's my question with that whole thing. Maybe this is a culture thing. Like, you can buy, like, a box of Jif yellow cake mix for, like, 60-some cents.
We've had this conversation before. Dominicans don't bake.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we just fry everything. We just fry shit. We don't bake.
You guys not figured out a way to fry cake yet?
Nope. If we can, then we'll do it, you know? No, we don't bake.
Time.
Anyway, Brian, anything else? You got like 50 fucking, I should have saved you for last. You got like 50 hobbies.
Final thing, just to wrap things up. Speaking of horror, I love me some horror in general, no matter what medium it is. So some good horror games, good horror movies, good horror anime. I'll watch, like, when I say like horror, I mean like the obscure horror stuff, not like the paranormal activity. I watched the first one. I thought it was an interesting idea, but the rest, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this. So I'm like into like the deep, obscure horror films that people have probably never heard of. Like,
hey, Brian,
favorite films.
Brian's watching actual snuff films and shit.
Oh
no, Brian,
not that far.
like psychological horror or body horror?
I don't mind. I'm most types of horrors apart from slasher films. I don't know why. I just feel slasher films just are all the same at this point. I'm like, And
you like torture porn?
No. I think it's only good when it's like stupidly obscene to the point where it's just comical, like Itchy the Killer, you know,
or Human Centipede.
Sorry?
Or Human Centipede?
That's Riku's movie right there.
Nah, Evil Dead 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, Evil Dead. I'd love that. I've controversial opinion. I liked the remake as well. I thought that was also fun. I know people didn't like it, but I thought that's how you remake something.
Ash vs. Evil Dead was really good. I like that series.
Oh, that was fantastic.
See, there you go. So, for example, like one of my favorite films of the last 5 years is one called Lake Mungo. I'm pretty sure that no one here has even heard of that film.
Is that the fucking African kaiju movie?
No.
You know what I'm talking about though, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, basically it's like I forgot which African country it was, like basically their take on like, you know, a kaiju, but it's really just a giant like lake monster and shit, you know. But it looked dope. The special effects looked legit. Some African joint. Yeah.
I'll try and find that. So yeah, Lake Mungo, even a recent one called Skinamarink. I'm sure that Tony's just like, what the hell? Like, Tony, you know how like my taste in games is always like Brian just knows like the obscure ones that no one's heard of. Same thing with horror films. Like,
makes sense.
These horror films.
I heard of that one. That was the two kids trapped in the house.
Yes.
Look, it reads like a nightmare.
Have you seen? Oh, I would pay if anyone has ever seen that film. I would pay so much money to have Tony watch that film, and I'll leave it at that. because it's one of those films.
Maybe it'll actually scare me because again, one of my problems with horror movies, they don't scare me. They don't do anything for me. So I'm like, okay.
Hey Brian, have you played Doki Doki Literature Club?
Yes.
What were your thoughts on that? No spoilers for the people who haven't played it. Just
no. I swear I told you guys about it.
You did.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun. It starts off the way that I assumed it would, and it ends in a very kind of way. So yeah, I thought it was quite fun. I heard that it came to consoles, but I don't know how Brett, have you played it?
I haven't. I just recently, and maybe you did tell me, and I just didn't put two and two together because I just kind of recently learned what it was. And I was like, oh, this is a horror game?
You should have played it without knowing. It's one of those games where you should play it without knowing what it actually is, because it's just kind of like it's nice and subversive enough because it just gets you. But if you played it and you reach the end part where things happen, wow, that's so vague. Where things happen, I don't know if that's possible on consoles.
Right, literally, I've been able to keep blind to like everything except for that it's not what you think that it is. Like I don't even know what form it actually comes in. Like, like this is a Gozer type situation. I don't know what form it's going to come in, but like I do know that the thing that I thought that it was that I wasn't interested in is not the thing that it actually is. And I just got a new PC, so we're getting ready. Oh, that's definitely a Steam Deck viable game too.
Oh yeah, it must be because it's a game. It's a very simple game to run and it's free. And if you like that, there's another game, Brett, which I think you might like, called I think it's Fear and Hunger. If you heard of that one. Have a look at that game. It's made by I think like one person or two people, and it's highly unforgiving to say the least, but not in a cheap way. And that's all I can say. Well, okay. The plot is there's a dungeon somewhere, and you're sent in to like rescue someone who got trapped in there, and then shenanigans happen. And then somehow more shenanigans happen that are somehow worse. And yeah, so definitely recommend it. I say everyone. Lots of people that I talked to on YouTube and stuff, they talked about it to the point where it's like, okay, this is one of those games where it just flew underneath the radar, and then suddenly everyone's like, okay, this game is interesting now, let's play some more. So yeah. Horror manga, love me some horror manga. As mentioned, Junji Ito. I think I have like 3 of the books. So I have Uzumaki, Tomei, and Shiver, I think it is. Along with what's it called? What's the not H.G. Wells?
What?
Oh my gosh, writer that does horror films. Everyone knows him.
Wes Craven?
No, the old guy who died who had racist dog.
Walt Disney?
No.
Anyway, what is it?
I mean, I bet his dog was racist.
He did like the Mound of is it
H.P.
Lovecraft? Madness.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah. Got some of his works as well, because why not?
Lovecraft is good stuff, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. One more, Brian. I'm also curious. I had to look up the name for it because I couldn't remember it. Have you played Amori?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, dear Lord. You and I are talking after the show.
Oh, I guess we are.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Brian?
Nah, that's it.
Right.
Oh yeah, wait. There's like the one other part, which was what else would I do?
Yeah, if you had time for it, yeah.
Woodwork. I think woodwork is great, but I don't have the time or the tools and the car to get wood from the shop, so it's not possible. So build stuff with wood because that stuff is primal as fuck. It's like, oh yeah, I built a bench with my hands. I built a table with my hands.
What about blacksmithing? Would you give that a shot?
It just seems very dangerous.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you want to be like a man about shit, you know,
I wanna go
make
do
some,
dangerous
make some
shit.
motherfucking swords, you know.
It just seems extremely dangerous. With like, it's just the idea. Ever since Terminator 2, for obvious reasons, the idea of like liquid metal and hot metal is kind of like, no, stay away from that.
Fair enough. All right, Chris, hobbies outside of gaming, and what hobby would you like to get into if you had time for it?
And if I had time, probably, well, I would definitely write more, and study it. But I also would love to dabble in like 3D modeling and game development. Like I would get Unreal Engine 5 and mess with it. You try to create something. Always wanted to try that. You know, I've been programming a long time, but I would love to create something in it, like video game wise. You know, like I've made a lot of software, but I never made a game. And I watch a lot of videos. Like I love Star Trek, and I watch a lot of guys model ships in like Blender and stuff, and the stuff they make is amazing. I'm like, wow, I'd love to learn how to do that.
Yeah. What about just other hobbies that you like doing besides gaming?
Oh, no, I gave all my hopes and dreams are gone now. I have a child, so
Oh yeah.
that's all gone.
Oh man.
You
All
gotta
right.
keep it small now.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Strings.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I should mention that too, because I'm going to talk about it later. Yeah. I guess another hobby of mine is writing. Like, oh, Tony, you do that for a living. I'm talking about like novel writing. I actually have 2 full manuscripts written. They're each like 120,000 words each. And I also have 2 novellas fully written. They're around 40,000 words.
That's like a Riga review.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, So, and studying that, just becoming like an actual prose writer, that's been a lot of fun. But I'll talk more about that in another question that we have coming up. All right, this was actually the first question we were asked this week, but I wanted to save it for the middle show because this shit is heavy, All right,
Oh.
Logic wins, bruh. He goes, we're blessed to have several older Throwdown panel members with an abundance of life experience. Thinking about your victories and regrets, what priorities should a young man have from 18 to 30 and then from 31 to 40 to increase his odds in living a fulfilling life? Feel free to discuss any criteria you'd like, but some examples could be finances, friendships, education, women, physical fitness, etc. He said, older guys, but everybody could jump in on this shit, But Chris, we can start with you first since you're the older guy, the oldest guy here right now. Adam would be the oldest guy on Throwdown, but he's not here with us tonight. So what advice would you give to like a guy, 18, a year old, to like 30? What would be the best advice you would give to a person of that age bracket?
Well, I mean, while you're young and you have the ambition and stuff, I would try to diversify the stuff you're learning. Like, don't college is an option, but trades are an option too, or whatever. So really figure out what you want to do, and also planning for the future in terms of finances. Try to, not just save money because that's like a boomer answer, right? Like, oh, save your pennies, whatever.
Yeah.
No, make investments, right? Read stuff on stock investments, bond investments, precious metal investments, and try to take some of your earnings and diversify in different things so that grows and you can reap those benefits when you're older, right? Like just doing a straight up savings account or whatever, you never know when a bank is going to fail, or you know for like right now the we're seeing the dollar devalue, but if you have investments in different things, then you're kind of protecting yourself. So those are very important things. And also, there's a lot of stuff in school that they should teach people, but they don't. Like home economics is not taught anymore. Learn how to fix your car, right? Learn how to change a tire, maybe do your brakes or whatever. Things that will in the long run save you money, right? Learn how get an ODB2 reader so you know if your car fails and you get a code, learn what those mean so that you can you don't get ripped off, right? If you go to a mechanic and stuff, you have knowledge that'll help you in the long run. Also, maybe like Brian said, cooking is good. Learn to cook. Learn how to try to take care of yourself, because when you go out in the world and when you're trying to make a life, and you eventually find someone, or maybe you have children and stuff, you have to take care of someone else. So it's good to have that knowledge early on. It's like good to not figure things out as you're like, as your life is changing, like, I have to learn to do this and that. Like, try to learn those things earlier. And when you're younger, it's easier.
Yeah. And what about cats that are 31 to 40? What would you tell them?
I thought this was for younger people.
Yeah, like there's two age brackets. Like the first part of the question is for guys that are 18 to 30, and then from 31 to 40.
Yo, Chris, what advice you got for me, man?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. Well, Carlos, you're more well adjusted than most. You're obviously thinking wisely with finances and stuff. There's nothing I'll really tell you. Like,
I sold my Nintendo stock. I know, Chris.
Right? You got out of the dead weight. Just dumped the dead weight. But the finance stuff is good. Just make sure you're protected for the future. Like, you have a 401k, look at it. Don't trust that your investment choices are always going to take care of you. Try to monitor your spending. Also monitor. There's a lot of fraud happening. I think I changed my card number like 4 times now because I had fraud like multiple times somehow. Just be careful. Like, watch. Pay attention to your transactions. Pay attention to your spending, and try. And also the same thing with you. Maybe invest in some stocks, invest in precious metals and things like that to diversify your money. It's not just all going one place. And cut out anything excess. When you're older now, it's like you end up signing up for so much shit, and then you forget. Like I'm looking at all the freaking streaming services I have and all the subscriptions I have. I'm like, I don't need this shit. No, I barely have time to watch like one movie a week. So it's just like, hey, just try to pare down, right? When you're younger, you can pair up. You could like, I enjoy this, whatever. When you get older, it's like pare down. It's like cut out all the dead weight.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is shit I wish somebody would have told me during this time. 18 to 30, right? Chris already brought up, you start investing early, man. Like, I would have so much more money now if I had done that. What I personally do is, just throwing out there, I'm not a financial expert. This is just what I do, right?
Let's do the disclaimer. This is not financial advice.
And Carlos, for this, feel free to jump in because you and I are kind of, the investment bros around here, What I do is, because I don't want to fuck around with trading individual stocks. I don't want to do any of that stuff, right? I just want simple shit, put money into it, done with it, right? So basically what I did is I have my money in my company's 401k plan or whatever. And what I do is I match whatever they give me. Like, they give me like 6% back. They match what I have. So I give them 6%. They just take it out of my check. I don't have to worry about it and shit. And then what I do is with the actual individual stocks, what I do is I just buy into 3 of them. Total money stocks, international, and then the one they suggest is bonds. I just put it into the real estate, but basically I'm buying into the entire stock market, not just individual companies. Because basically, if you look throughout the history of the stock market, right, it always trends up. Even when you have recessions and shit, it always comes back higher. So like right now we're in a fucked up situation, but it's gonna come back higher eventually. So just put your money in that. Start early as you possibly can. I wish somebody would have told me that shit. The other one is, and this is some real shit right now, do not fuck around with women during this time. Like, you could have sex or whatever. Do not get into any serious relationships. You're trying to build yourself as a man, because I've seen a lot of guys fuck their lives up by like having a baby and she getting a bitch pregnant, and then they're just on the noose and shit for like 18 years. Pull out where rubbers be careful with these fucking women, like especially during that time. And also during this time, you want to be building yourself as a man. You don't want to be women are not really looking at you like that until when you hit the older age, when you start getting money. That's when they're going to start looking at you. And you also would have been better positioned when you want to eventually start a family and everything. You don't really want to start doing that stuff unless you already got money somehow when you're younger. But as a man, you don't need to be doing that so early. You want to spend 18 to 30 really building yourself up, doing your thing right, and, as far as like the dieting exercise, I know it's kind of ironic, me a fucking fat ass. I wish I would have known this before. It's like, yeah, eat right, but at the same time, you don't want to deprive yourself. Like basically you're kind of almost dieting most of the time. And then you give that one day where you're like, okay, let me just eat one meal where I'm good, exercise regularly as much as you can. It depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to be like a big dude and shit, focus more on like lifting. If you want to just be leaner, focus more on cardio or whatever, find what you want. But that's very good because again, it all ties together. You have like a healthy, financial lifestyle, healthy body, and then healthy mind. Read a lot of fucking books, like whether it be novels or self-help shit, like just really invest in your mind, because that's at the end of the day, that's all you really have, your head. So those are the main three things I would suggest. Like get your finance order. Also, when you're 18, 30, this is when you could experiment. Look around you, because like most people, they say, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. You don't know. Like for example, this whole journalism shit, I didn't have a plan for this. I just kind of fell into it. So you want to take that time to kind of experiment, figure out what you want. But then when you lock it down, when you're 30, 40, then really start pushing ahead. Try to be the best you can be at it, and just make, just go up the ladder if you're like in a corporate sense or whatever. So 18 to 30, focus on who you want to be, and then 30 to 40, focus on who you will be for the rest of your life. Again, this is all shit I wish I had been told back in the day. I'll go to Brett next. I'm gonna give all you guys a turn, obviously. Brett, what do you suggest to men from 18 to 31, and then from 18 to 30, and then from 31 to 40?
Well, I mean, some of what I'd say is gonna, to the surprise of no one, contradict what you said. But like, I guess I'll say, I think everybody should live on their own for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of a bigger part of getting to know yourself, your limitations, how your own mind works. Like, this should be a time in your life where you're developing your skills, not just, external skills or talents, but also your critical thinking and your metacognitive skills, your ability to, break down situations and be aware of, your own brain, how your own brain works. Do you have anxiety? This is the point in your life where you're going to find out if you have anxiety. Do you have some sort of latent learning disability? Like, everybody's brain works in a very unique fashion. And I think 18 to 30 is the point in your life where you really kind of suss out and figure out how your own mind works and how to best accommodate your own strengths and your own weaknesses. Is that part of my life where I kind of figured out I have anxiety, and so it's a time to really work on yourself and get to know yourself. I also feel like it's a good time to try and build experience. You basically sit in a school and you learn and you train, and then you're unleashed onto life, and you really got to kind of like, I think it was Chris. I think it was Chris that said it. I'll be honest, I zoned out for a minute. Somebody had mentioned traveling. I think that's a good time to do that. Build your skills, build your intellect. And then I think during the 30 to 40 is kind of more the phase of your life where you build your wisdom. You kind of sharpen the knowledge base that you have. You learn to work smarter, not harder, and kind of learn to live life. I will say, I think where I disagree with Tony is, I got married when I was 28.
Oh yeah, I'm giving general rules, Brett. You know, I'm not saying
No, I know, but
yeah.
like general rules is as somebody who got spat back into the dating field in the 30 to 40 range, I can say no, bro. It is like going to the grocery store 2 days before 2 days before a hurricane's supposed to hit. Like the shelves are fucking picked clean, man. Like I hate to put it, in a dire space like that, but like the dating world when I was younger than 30 versus the dating world when I was older than 30, dude, world's different. Unless you're looking for a run through single mama too, then this side of 30 is not necessarily your friend when finding a mate. I don't know that you want to wait until everybody's paired off. So,
oh no, I should make that disclaimer. When you're like 31 to 40, you don't want to go for a girl your age. You want someone younger. They will, and those girls will want older men. So that's why I say wait until that point. You don't want these run through women like you mentioned.
If you want to run that dynamic, yeah, but that's not the only dynamic. Dating your own age is fine. Rachel was 2 years older than I was, so don't let anybody's despite how true some of the stuff could be, like, don't ever let anybody put you in a box or put what you're looking for in a box, because that's when you're not going to find it in the box. So yeah, I could agree with some of that, but also I think dating when you're younger is part of that whole getting knowledge, learning about yourself, learning about other people. Like, holy shit, dude, like the amount of shit dating taught me about other people was fucking crazy. And not always in the
Brett,
best
that's what
way,
I'm telling people.
but
When you're young, date around. Don't get locked in too early. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but I at the same time don't necessarily refuse to get into anything serious, because then you don't get experience in some of that serious stuff. So that doesn't really help anybody when we parse down that much. But it's just one of those, like, I guess the walk away is like, in your 30s, build experience. In your 20s, build experience. In your 30s, leverage that experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. Carlos, advice.
Yeah, you guys have brought up a lot of good points. I do want to piggyback on something Chris mentioned, sort of more, not a specific thing, but more of the thought when he said boomer advice. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of times, boomer advice is good advice because, these people have lived through these experiences, and sometimes they just want to convey it. Because I know for younger people, and I understand this as well because I went through it, probably all of us went through it, but older people, the older generations are always hating on you for everything and anything. So, but sometimes, and a lot of times, some of the advice, some of the classics are, are replayed because they actually make sense. And like Chris mentioned, the whole stuff with the financial, Tony mentioned, making sure to diversify your assets, investing into either stocks or bonds, doing ETFs or individual stocks, matching your 401k and your job is useful. It's free money.
It's free money. It's free money. Take it. By the way, Carlos, for this, I do want you. I know it's your answers, but I do slightly want you to lean more on the financial shit because you know it more than I do. But I do want to say this though: once you have a job, save I know we're talking about timers, but literally save at least. At minimum 3 months worth of your expenses, right? Because if you lose a job, you're going to have something to fall on. What I personally do is I have 6 months worth of expenses saved up. You know how much peace of mind that gives me? I'm like, I have that money. It's there. It's good. And also, don't get in fucking debt. Don't do it.
Let me ask this. Which is more important, retirement or buying a house?
Retirement. I'm not buying a house. I'm not worried about that.
Well, it's
also,
Brett,
but Brett, you could do both.
I do want to throw in there financially. Don't be like I was and wait until you're like 35 to buy a house if at all possible. Like, I'm not saying you can get it sooner, but if you can get in sooner, do. I spent way too much time. Like, I did the math. I spent like I just flushed 150 grand down the toilet.
And Brett, to add to that, I would say Don't have any debts. Get your credit up, your credit score really well. So when you want to finance a house, you can get the lowest interest rate possible. So I'm with you on that one. If you can, buy a house as soon as possible, but just make sure you got your credit right before that.
Yeah. I mean, definitely get your ducks in a row. But like, if you I was like 35 before I put a down payment on a house, and it wasn't until like I sat down and really started thinking about it. I was like, fuck, man, like if I would have found a way to get even just a ridiculously shitty, cheap house, like I would have lived in the ghetto. Like that money that I spent, like fuck, man.
Brett, I mean, you shouldn't feel too bad because I feel like the median person, 35 is still relatively young to get, especially these days.
Yeah, like Brett, I'll tell you this right now, man. I kind of, you got to understand, I'm from New York, right? So to me, you buying a house, I thought like, yo, Brett must be fucking loaded with money, So you got to understand how good you have it compared to other people. Like you.
I do.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. But the thing I want to say is, I don't want people to go either invest or buy a home. You could do both. You could do both.
Yeah, you can do both.
You could do both. I suggest you do both.
That's what I'm saying. But like, because like if I would have gotten like worked on my credit from like 18 to 25, right, and then 25 invested in like, because I could have you could even get down to like some of the starter homes, single bedroom kind of thing, like start there. I could have I didn't have to jump into the house that I was in, right? Like I got a good deal on this house, but I could have started smaller.
Yeah.
And if it were 10 years ago, I definitely would have fucking done that. But like, even if you're talking about like, okay, so 10 years, let's say it's just $1,000 a month. Let's lowball that shit to make it, nice and even, right? Like $1,000 a month, that's like $120,000, right? Like that's damn near what I would have paid for one of those fucking starter homes. Like I could have walked away with a free house.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both. I mean, obviously, Tony and Brett are in different scenarios. I mean, buying a house in New York that
ain't happening.
It's millions of bucks.
Yeah, millions of dollars.
So, in Brett's situation, if you can get a house as soon as possible, do it. Build up equity. Use the line of credit on the house to invest on more houses if you can. Once you have that, maybe get a rental. Do other stuff. Yeah, the house is going to appreciate for the most part.
Yeah.
And just going back to like Tony mentioned the financial stuff. And a lot of us in here were in the same predicament. I mean, first generation Americans coming from immigrant parents, we're broke for the most part, especially growing up. I was broke growing up. We kind of went into the Texas middle class, I guess, in my late teens. So we this whole stuff about investing is just something that was new to me. That wasn't taught to me in school. That wasn't taught to me by my parents. That wasn't taught to me by my friends. We were all sort of in the same predicament. And for different types of people in this country and maybe around the world, this is common knowledge. But obviously it's not common knowledge because most people are not invested. So, make sure to invest, whether it's $100 a month, whether it's 500, however much you want to allocate, however much you can allocate at the time, make sure to do it, because it builds up. And the most impactful thing in this journey of trying to figure out the whole financial stuff is compound interest.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Just real quick, Carlos. Like I'm pretty sure you've seen the same videos, right? Like basically, if you start investing $100 a month, right, by the time you're 18, from 18 to 65, you would already have millions of dollars because of compound interest. Like obviously, if you invested right, but like if you just put it into like the regular stock market and shit, if you're getting at least like 10 or 12% return and shit. Yeah, you'll have like millions of dollars and shit. Literally just putting $100 a month away,
Yeah, and there's different types of investing. There's especially in the stock market, you can do dividend investing. You can do investing for these tech companies that are more growth investing. So there's different types of investing. But just if there's one thing you can get from me is learn what compound interest is, because that's probably the most powerful tool you can attain in terms of financial education.
Yep.
And going back to something Tony mentioned, buying the total stock market ETF, for example, let's say Vanguard. And when you buy it 10 years from now and 10 years later, it's going to go up more than likely. Even during recessions, even during market crashes, it'll go up. We've had market crashes in 2008 and in the 30s. And it's always gone up, and they got to have something. Just
quick, I throw in there. For $6,000 contribution to your Roth IRA, which is the money that you can use to put into those stocks, is a tax deductible. So if you're paying taxes, you're just setting $6,000 worth of cash on fire every year.
Thank you for that, Brett, because that's what I invest in. Like on top of what I do with my company, I also invest in a Roth IRA, which is no taxes on that shit. It's already taken out beforehand. So $6,000, that easy. Just put that in there every year. Like,
but you have to wait until you're 59 and a half.
I pay. So like if I owe $6,000 at the end of the year, I just turn around and put $6,000 into my Roth IRA, and then I don't have to give that $6,000 to Uncle Sam, and instead it develops compound interest. It's one do you want $6,000 worth of compound interest investment annually, or do you want to throw that money in a hole?
Yeah. Husker Shoe says invest 10% of your income minimum. I would say 15 minimum. That's what I do. I'm going to try to bump that up to 25 though. Because I do I do like spending money on other shit, but I do 15 minimum, As much as you can allocate, as much as the certain time allows you to, just make sure it's something. Yeah. Gotta have something. Because you gotta have something. And going back to what Tony mentioned with the total stock market ETFs, one thing that I also learned is time in the market way surpasses time in the market. So don't worry about, am I buying at the right time? Just worry about doing, dollar cost averaging at certain every month or every week or every 2 weeks, however much you want to just keep doing it, and it'll build up. Another important thing that I would give, just anyone from 18, even if you're in their 30s and haven't done it, is do a budget. Yes. Yes. Oh my God, that's a game changer right there. Because most people, myself during my late teens, early 20s, it's hard, especially these days. It's hard to keep track of where everything is going. You're buying food every week. You're going on dates. You're doing everything. You're paying for the in-laws' cars or whatever. Expenses come from everywhere and anywhere, and not keeping track of them, you can get out of hand and just not make as much money as you think you are, because you're just losing it from so many expenses. So having a budget, making sure you check to see, hey, this is how much I'm getting from my checks every other week, and making sure, hey, these are the expenses that are going to go through my credit card, that are going through my subscription services, that are going through my investments. That's where every month when I put money into my investments, they go through the budget, so I know how much I'm getting, how much I'm putting in, how much I'm getting back, and I do that. I do it all in an Excel spreadsheet, and I just keep everything. It looks pretty sick. Every time I look at it, I'm like, it looks pretty sick. And I keep a tab in the Excel spreadsheet every year. I renew the tab every year. And, I've done it since 2020. And it just, it's crazy how much I started with and now how much I have. And it's fulfilling, man. It's something that, financial freedom is something, it's a goal that I'm aiming towards. And it's a goal that I feel like a lot of us are aspiring to. And hopefully, for the younger cats, they're able to learn it at a much younger age than we did, and it'll just be even that more fulfilling. Yeah. By the way, Carlos, real quick, because Jeffrey said this is so perfect. One of the biggest misconceptions that needs to go away is that investing is a rich person's activity. No, it's not at all. Definitely not.
It's anyone can do it. Back in the day, not back in my day, but back in the day, they used to charge you for buying stocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now the tools available, it's like there's free. You can buy stocks for free.
Yeah.
And you used to actually do it.
And when you get those dividends too.
When you get those dividends, and you're like, "Excuse me, like I'm not doing anything."
Yeah, it's great, man.
There's a difference between playing the stock market and investing in your 401k.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole playing the stock market, short term,
don't do that
buying and selling. That is rich person shit. Do not fuck with that unless it's money you're willing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and do all this, and a lot of people, and I kind of had this perception back in the day, is just thinking, oh, you're investing in stocks, you must be like a stock trader that's doing these daily stock trades. Nope. And it doesn't have to be that hard. It can be that simple. Dude, it can be as simple as buying an index fund and just investing every month, and that's it.
My stock strategy is Ron Popeil that shit. Set it and forget it, bro. I just put money into it every month and don't think about it, Again, and it's been kind of rough this time because I've just been seeing that motherfucker red the whole time. So like last month when it was green, I'm like, oh shit, green, But I know it's gonna pay off in the end, so it's all good. Because I just want people to get panicked and shit. It's like, don't do it. It's like when you think you gotta pull out, don't keep that shit in there. It's better put more money into it because you're buying the shit at a cheaper price, Buy
the dip. Always buy the dip and average down, man.
Yep.
Even if the best way to get there's two great ways to get a good average price on the stocks that you buy. One is to carefully wait and buy in at only the best times. The other is just average down. Yeah. And the latter is always the better idea.
Yeah, pretty much put your minimum, but if you can, it's like, yo, the shit's on sale. Buy more,
Yeah, there's stocks and then there's sale stocks.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff there. All right, Brian. Go ahead, Carlos. Last thing, and then Brian.
I'll do some real quick hits. The student loans. Be careful.
Ooh,
be careful. That obviously, a lot of people do need an education. Some don't. Some do. It really just depends on the person. But if you're going to go through the higher education part, be careful of loans because that can hamper a lot. You don't. Some of the courses that you're doing in school, some of the stuff that you do, you don't even have to do in a major university to do them. So just be careful with those because they're predatory loans, man. And also just piggybacking from what Tony mentioned about being careful with relationships. Yeah, try if you're. Most people, I'm going to say this just in general, most people, not all people, most people are not ready to have a kid at 18.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I feel like for a lot of people, most of what, people in your 20s, in your 30s, you learn about yourself and you learn about yourself by, doing things your way, learning, taking all these different experiences and doing all these things. But if you end up getting a kid at 18, 19, 20, 21, most of your personality is attributed to another person or to the relationship. And I feel like a lot of people are not suited for that. I feel like most people aren't suited for that. You need to find yourself first before you get you.
That's how you end up boring as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Those motherfuckers that just talk about their kids all day in the office. Like, okay, what about you, bro?
Here's the thing. 20 and 40 are still kind of in the same life stage together, right? As somebody who's coming up on 40, if you already have a 20-year-old, I'm like, you just got a whole ass adult just walking around. That's fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
We're not even in beginning to get into the old guy stage, and you just got a whole ass adult wandering around. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it's just me, but wait till you're 30. That 30 seems like a good age.
Yeah. Wait till your 30s. That's why I was like, you want to start thinking about that when you're later 30s, not in your 20s at all. No way. Don't do it.
Not only
pull
that,
out,
but the correlation that
pull out.
But also the correlation between financial security in your in your late teens, early 20s, as compared to your mid to late 30s, is just different. So not only emotionally would you be more prepared for a kid, but financially you'd be more prepared for a kid as well.
Yeah, if you have a kid in your 20s, like
you're probably going to ask your parents to take care of them all the time.
Well, no, it's not even that. Like your 20s is when you got to hustle, right? Like you don't have the sense, like in a lot of people's career, and like maybe mine's a little bit different, but like 20s when you have to put the work in because you don't have, like I said, the sense, you don't have the experience to be able to compete on anything other than just pure fucking hustle and steam. So you put in the all-nighters, you crash, you put in the work, you pay your fucking dues, so that as you start to become more experienced and knowledge in your 30s, you can really kind of leverage that. But if you spend all your hustle and steam on your kids in your 20s, you're going to kind of hold yourself up in your career in a way that you're honestly never going to recover from, both skill set wise or financial wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, there are exceptions. Most of them are rich motherfuckers, but yeah, most people that I know that had kids at a young age, most of their identity is just attributed to their kids, and it feels like you're not talking to the person, you're talking about someone's family, like that's their personality, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Brian, what advice do you have for those two age brackets?
It's hard actually to think of something, especially since most things have already been said. I guess the only thing I can add is make sure to take care of your physical health as well.
Yes.
So stay in shape to some way, shape, or form. So whether it's just going outside, just being active in life, do that if you can. Because honestly, like one thing that you learn, and again, this is what everyone knows. Like in your 20s, your body is pretty much immortal. Like you can do whatever you want and nothing will happen. But then when you hit your 30s, and I'm sure that when these guys are in their 40s, they also tell you the same thing. Your body just can't do the same things. So you just want to be careful of that, because I've heard like some horror stories of people in like their 70s and 80s where they like the slightest breeze is enough to knock them down. Whereas some other people, they're like in their 70s doing like a 100-meter dash. It's like, how are you doing that? You know?
Oh, so, Brian, like not just that. I wish somebody had told me this when I was younger. I'm sorry to jump in. Like the things that you do that you hurt yourself now, and you're like, oh, weird, that just went away. It didn't go away. It's waiting in the wings, and when you hit like 30, 35, it's going to swoop down. Like all of those times you hurt your knees and like it just disappeared. One day when you're 40, all that's just going to compound on you at one time. It's going to be like, oh my God, my knees exploded. Why? It's just because all of those injuries.
Compound interest, baby.
Yeah. Well, your 20s is the equivalent of you playing. It's like hip hop gamer playing video games with cheat codes. You know. Afterwards, man, you gotta be careful, man.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, shout out to Manny. He just joined us. I guess he's still getting.
Yo.
Yeah, from Seattle town.
Everybody can relax. Gambit has arrived.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You know what, Manny, you could jump into this question too. So basically, the question is, what advice would you give to, and we're focusing on men, really. Let's just be real here, you know. What advice would you give to a young man between 18 and 30, and then from 30 to 40? So 18 to 30 first, and then 31 to 40 after that.
Well, so, what advice would I give?
Yeah, so like, you know, some examples are finances, friendships, education, women, physical fitness, etc.
Well, I would say younger for the younger ones, like in the 20s, I would say figure out taxes. Because taxes can really screw you over. I've earlier in my life, I had some pretty, because I didn't know how to handle my business right, and obviously things just didn't work out the way they work out right. So I would say, first thing, that's the thing that they don't even teach you in schools, man.
No,
they just don't. So that is one. So that would be for the 20s. For the 30s, try. I would say I think I got a little bit of what Brian was saying. Just try to take care of yourself because you don't, even though you were like, like obviously in in your 20s you feel like you're immortal, but you're really not. It's something you should really try to keep an eye on your health and trying to get enough exercise and trying to keep active and trying to eat pretty good because all that stuff is eventually you'll all those checks you're going to end up paying when you get older older in life.
By the way, Jeffrey said. By the way, going back a little bit to what we said before, Jeffrey says all of my skateboarding ankle injuries reappeared 20 years later on the gotcha tip. Gotcha, bitch.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a hard. All of those cracks in the head and all that stuff.
Oh, you couldn't out, Manny.
Oh, the hotel Wi-Fi is finally.
Am I in now? Am I?
Hey, keep talking.
Yes,
I think you should be fine. Yeah.
A quick round fox jumps on the lazy dog's back.
Man, there you go.
Sorry, I can't get my camera to work out properly right now. So, but
it's all good.
I'll mess around with it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right. Yeah. Go ahead, Manny, and then we'll move on to the next question.
In the 40s, same thing. Just try to keep yourself good. You'll be, in the 40s is when those old man problems start to show up. Heart conditions and all kinds of those other wonderful things that happen.
Huh.
But again, those are all the checks that you're pretty much paying for all the misuse for previous.
Oh man. All right, moving on. Next question. This one's a little bit spicy. Logic Wits, he's joining us. Shout out to him, in the chat. Okay, he goes, a female superhero wants to come over to your place and make you breakfast in her bra and panties. Who would you pick to come over? He goes, to ensure unique answers, you can't pick Black Widow, Wonder Woman, or any member of the Bat family. You also can't repeat answers others on the panel have given.
What like a superhero? Does Red Sonja count as a superhero? She had a comic, right?
And she doesn't even have to dress up. She's already in bra and panties,
No, Red Sonja there.
Okay, so your answer is Red Sonja. I like that one. Carlos, what about you? I'm just going straight down the line here.
I'm trying to think what name would it be? Just a generic anime
that counts.
Superhero
that
character because
yeah.
I wouldn't mind some Japanese food.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Mine, Jessica Cruz. Remember, Jessica Cruz is a Green Lantern, right? The reason I pick her, remember, apparently, I'm guessing there's no sex involved. It's just she's coming over just to cook. You get to ogle her. She's Puerto Rican. I'm going to get some good shit. So I'm going with Jessica Cruz. She could make me some, mofongo or something.
Gonna have that sazon.
Some mango.
Red Sonja could make some like boar or something.
Yeah,
like
just
that.
on a fucking fire and shit.
On a fire spigot.
You got to be careful. You might get that. You might get the chancleta and the mango.
Yeah. I could also go for Fire from Fire and Ice because she's Brazilian. That food's gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
You're thinking about multiple levels. Will they be decent at cooking? And
okay. I'm going to be looking at her in a bra and panties, so she's got to look hot. But the food is really what's the main draw, right? So I'm thinking about some Latin bitches, So that's where I'm coming at it from. Or even the new Wonder Woman, Yara, I think her name is. The Brazilian her come over, make some food, and you know what? She's Brazilian. I'll do in the Brazilian restaurant. I have that stick and shit. I'll turn it over green. Keep it coming.
Brazilian.
Then when I'm full, turn it to red. Okay, I'm good now. You can leave. All right, Chris. What about you?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Fair enough. Brett, is Brett? Is your answer Tank Girl? Well, is Brett even around? He's probably trying to unmute himself.
I'm right here.
Probably Chris. Probably Chris can't actually answer that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Go ahead, Brett.
I kind of want to be like yes, but at the same time, realistically,
can she cook?
Probably not.
Yeah.
You also wouldn't look the best in broad panties, and there's like a high likelihood that you're getting stabbed.
Yeah.
With those in mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and go with She-Hulk.
There you. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Brian.
Fuck you, Brett. That's my answer.
Oh damn.
Superheroes. You're old when like the first thing you think of is but can she actually cook a good meal though? That's the question.
Yeah, well, that's what I went with. Like, and Jessica Cruz, the other thing, she was a shut-in for a lot of her life, but she was afraid. And she's cooking good because she had to make her own food. I was thinking too deep about this question, man. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Because it's all good to look good in your bra and panties, but then at the same time, like you're making breakfast. Like there's a job, there's a purpose going on.
That's what I'm saying.
At the moment. So
I need that food.
Can she perform?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not She-Hulk. I think Jean Grey might be good.
Ooh, some psychic shit,
Yeah, she can read your mind, so she knows exactly how you want things.
That's a good
point. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. Is she redhead too? Shit. Actually, you and Manny picked a redhead. Good for you guys, man. Respect.
And plus, it means that again, she has. Does she have telekinesis? I don't remember.
Yes, she does. She can move objects around too. Yeah.
There you go. So like she can multitask.
Yep.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, you got to get that white woman food though, so just be aware of that.
I don't think Tony knows what I mean here. You can multitask, Tony.
Yes, I know, but again, I'm assuming sex is not part of the deal here.
Hey!
Who says sex? I'm playing games.
White women food is actually not fucking bad.
Oh man,
those Midwestern white bitches know how to make some fucking bacon. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. You can't fuck up bacon. That is true.
Bacon, hash browns, pancakes. Come on.
Yeah. Now you're right, Brett. You're right. Medusa, that's a good one, Mighty Nerd. Yeah, with the fucking hair and shit, All right. Next up here.
Well,
What's up?
I'm surprised nobody picked Scarlet Witch because it doesn't have to.
Now that bitch is crazy. I don't know about that.
Okay, does that include the dead children?
But you have to dip into like the past comics we read. Like,
yeah.
So Brett picked She-Hulk. Would you want She-Hulk from the current comics coming over? No, you want John Byrne's She-Hulk.
I want John Byrne.
You want sensational She-Hulk. Coming to make you breakfast. You don't want the current one.
Yeah.
So you don't want current Scarlet Witch. You want the old school one, the one that was married to Vision. I know she cook, but she can do a hex field, so you'll have the best meal you ever ate in your life.
This is true. Yeah, you're right about that. It's gonna be some Eastern European shit she's gonna cook you up though. It's all good.
Hold on.
What's up?
I'm surprised that no one picked Rogue because you've eaten some really good Midwestern
Asian food. Yeah,
Just make sure you don't touch. Don't touch.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I was like,
you've eaten your last meal.
Mm-hmm, I don't want to get paralyzed.
Yeah, I'll be like, yo, you got the gloves on, right? You got the gloves on, right? Oh man. All right. Next up from Logic Wins. Ooh, this one's fun. What does quote unquote retirement look like for you guys? Where would you go and what activities other than gaming would you partake in?
Retirement, huh?
Yeah. Manny, you know what? Now you're the first guy in the line, so I'm going to start with you first. What does retirement look like to you?
Retirement. The retirement is not really having to worry about any of the stuff that I did. That in other words, made enough money and I made enough, to retire and pretty much do the things that I wanted to do. It's probably going to look very similar to what I do now, except I don't need to do it for other people, and that's always been the thing. I always say this is that you're sort of earning as you work and as you do things, you're sort of weirdly enough earning your freedom back, to where the point where you could go off and do go off and paint off something, go off and do all those things. And I feel like that's what retirement is to me. It's not really stopping. It's more getting back to basics of doing the what you enjoy doing. And it wasn't for anybody else, but just for yourself.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to do after retirement?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, again, I just looking forward to the freedom of being able to do what I want, whatever the hell I wanted to do. I don't know, like I'm not gonna go, not like I would probably want to see the world when I was more younger than older, where I can't really fully enjoy that stuff and have to worry if I'm going to catch a heart attack on a cruise or something. But just that. No, maybe paint, oil painting. There you go.
Like Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Maybe not painting happy trees, but
Yeah. You know what? Carlos, I'm going to go to you next, but I'm going to go next because mine and Manny are very similar. Here's the thing. I had a revelation, right? And this is tied in with the financial shit, right? Because I really only started investing like 2 years ago when I actually had the means to, right? And I had always been told, you save money, you keep investing until you retire at 65. And I'm like, damn, so I only would have been investing for 20 years. That's not enough. And then I had the revelation, Tony, you don't have to retire. You're a writer. Like, I could keep doing this until I die. When I figured, I'm like, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. So what I want to do is when I, quote unquote, retire, like Manny, I just don't want to do this for anybody else. But what I'm doing right now, the writing, I want to keep this going. This is what I want to do. And this is all tied in with something else I'm going to talk about later. Like eventually I do want to just become like a novelist. That's what I really want. I don't have to retire. I could keep going. There's fucking novelists I started when they were 60, so that way I could keep investing, keep it going. And then just, like you said, just don't work for somebody else. Like I'll do freelancing or something, go back to that. But like the grind I'm on right now, I don't want to be on that level when I'm 65, but I still want to be a writer because, again, there's nothing physical. I was talking to Jeffrey about this today. Like I think most, the whole idea of retirement, like the dream, like I'm gonna stop working, is really more. I'm generalizing right now. It's really more for like hard labor guys. Like if you've been lifting shit for 30 years, you probably want to really fucking retire. But if you're like, most of us here, we're artists or writers or programmers, we could keep this going for a while. Unless something horrible happens, obviously. So when I figured that out, Manny, I was like, that is very freeing. I don't have to stop. My life doesn't have to stop. I can just keep doing my thing,
Well, the thing about it is that, I think in general, like when you're so used to being, engaged in something, to sort of somewhat turn all of that stuff off, I feel like that could be jarring. Like at least for my mom, I could granted, she still worked until she passed, but the thing about it is that with her is that she always, like, even when she was, before, she always had something that she wanted to do. Whether it, working aside, she had her little groups, she had her little things, she had things helping out people. She did the things that she wanted to do. So I think that's what real retirement is. It's really just not really doing it where you're not having to kill yourself to try to, get that paycheck constantly going. Your younger version of yourself, set your future self up.
Yeah. When it comes, again, I'm not really much of a travel guy to begin with, but I think I'm going to start at least trying to force myself to do that now. Because you're right. When I get to 65, I'm like, I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm already like that now. So I'm like, let me try to do this now. Let me try to actually go places and shit while I'm still young and have energy and shit. Because right when you hit that age, I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to get on a plane, possibly get a heart attack or something.
Yeah, that's that when you can't I think one of my aunts or uncles said, travel before it gets too late.
Yep.
Try to see these places that you've always wanted to see. You figure it out.
That's what Danny was telling me. Your Uncle Danny. He was saying that. He's like, I want to do this now before I can't do it anymore. So I'm like, that's what's up. So that's what. Again, I'm like, I could just keep writing until I die. That's great. That's right, because that's what I love doing, and I'm going to be a way better writer 20 years from now than I am now. So it's like even that, because that's what keeps me going with this shit, knowing that every single day I'm better than I was the day before. So that's retirement. Retirement means I'm not fucking retiring.
I'm gonna be better now in 20 years after you keep grinding. What is this, an RPG? What's going on?
You already know,
man. Yo, man, you grinding at the forest on the rats.
Yeah, but unlike George R.R. Martin, I'm going to keep on going with technology. This motherfucker's still using some shit from like the early 90s to write on and shit. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
Yo, Manny, I see that Topo Chico.
Yeah, right. You know,
Topo Chico.
hey. You know. All right, Carlos. What does retirement look like for you, sir?
Yeah, it feels kind of like a privilege thing because like Tony mentioned, like we don't do hard labor, so retirement for us looks a lot different than for like a person that works in construction. Like I know my dad worked in construction his whole life, and he retired because that's fucking hard labor, and it takes a toll on your body. So but for me, I feel like I'll probably have like a business set up by the time, and I don't want to be a programmer when I'm 60, but I wouldn't mind programming. Like it's not the end of the world if I'm doing that. But like Manny mentioned, working till the day you die is not something that should be a bad thing. I feel like a lot of people, it's just something. It's something that is fulfilling. It's something that keeps you busy. It gives you a purpose. And I feel like if I were to be someone that just stopped working altogether at, let's say, 65, the retirement age right now, it's like, yeah, but I still got hopefully 20 more years of life.
And
Like
that's the other thing. It's like, okay, so you want me to stop doing what I like doing and then do what for 20 more years? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, come on now. Yeah.
my mom's in her late 60s. She'll be in her 70s soon. She's still working this same thing, and it's like, and she doesn't want to let it go. And good for her, because I don't want her to just be sitting around not doing anything. She's got the money to do whatever the hell she wants, but if part of her purpose is doing the job that she wants to do, then more power to her and more power to everyone. And that's sort of some of the, like, the mantra that I'm leaning towards. I still got a long way to go to get to that age, but hopefully I'm just doing something that's fulfilling to me, something that's beneficial. And yeah, I don't see myself ever like just stop working all of a sudden. Like I'm 65 and I'm just going to stop working. And also, hopefully by the time that I reach retire, I'll say this: when I reach retirement age, hopefully I'm a multimillionaire.
Oh shit, my man. Keep
But,
investing. Keep investing.
But also, I'll just clarify: if inflation ever gets even more crazy, maybe being a multimillionaire isn't that impressive at that time. So we'll see.
Yeah,
things change.
All right, Brett, retirement, quote unquote. What does it look like for you?
Joke's on you. I'm not making it to retirement age.
Oh shit! Damn, that's bleak.
I mean, being straight honest, nobody in my family makes it to 65.
Oh shit! So, I guess you don't have to worry about that then, do you?
No, not really. I mean, so I guess when I know when my mom died, the money that she had set up for her retirement pretty much just went into savings that supposedly is going to kick in now for both my sister and I when we turn 65. So I actually got informed that I have a retirement seed that through compound interest is going to be ready for me in 20 years. I don't even be there to collect it, but supposedly there'll be something there. But in all reality, I'll probably have to work forever, and that's fine. I'm an artist, so much like the rest of you guys, if I somehow managed to make it to retirement age and then just stopped doing everything and had zero purpose in my life, I would probably just die anyway. So I don't know, man. I feel like one way or another, not really going to retire for very long. But I think when we stop having a purpose or a need in our lives, then like that shit just kind of ages you. And I don't have kids. I'm not planning on having kids. So unlike some people, like Chris and Adam, like that's not going to be a thing that drives me when I'm older. So like, I don't think it's bleak, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Since we're already on topic, that's something I've been thinking about, because I'm not gonna have any kids either. I don't want that, but yeah, when I get old and shit, I'm like, I'm not gonna have anyone to take care of me. So, but that's a choice I made, So that's just how it is. But I think I just don't want any kids. Like it's nah, I'll worry about that when I have to worry about it.
Dude, you hear about how hard these people at the retirement communities are partying?
I heard other things happening in the retirement community. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like they're living life to the fullest out there. Apparently,
unless they're getting fucking abused and shit, that's what I heard. Some horrible shit happened. If we're gonna go really bleak, I just pray I have enough. If I get to a point where like life is like really like insurmountable, I just pray I have the energy to end it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't want to end up in a retirement home. No fucking way. All the horror stories I heard, no, thank you. Well,
no, that's the thing. Like, especially guys, from what I hear, like when you stop having a purpose, when you stop having a need, that's when you start to like just kind of age and go, man. So like, I don't know the idea of like.
I agree with that.
Just the idea of retirement. Some people have like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to quit my job and watch the ducks. Like that fucking sounds horrifying.
Some people do that too. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, the thing about it, I think it's like,
hey, if that works for them.
Sometimes I think it's also like, again, like I think sometimes it's just like what obviously it's like, it's like turning, if you don't have, it's like when you have an engine of a car off for a long time, and eventually as it's, all the oil and all the gas and stuff like that settles inside it, just sort of becomes useless. You still want to keep the car running, you still want to drive out on the streets and stuff. So to be honest, I think that, again, like retirement for is never, I don't think, at least for people who've had, had jobs that occupied their minds, that they wouldn't try to at least do something, So they maybe not the full force of what they used to do, but something, the thing that they enjoyed, or they finally get to do the things that they wanted to do, the things that they did as hobbies and things, other stuff like that. But I don't know. It depends. Just like, what if again, what if you're so messed up from being old, from all the things that you did in your life, the only thing you can do is just watch the ducks.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
VR, Manny. VR.
All right, Brian.
Oh, I guess for me it's slightly different to everyone else. For me, it's farming. I think I'd like to retire on a farm and then just chill out. Because at least then I can still do what I like to do. So play games, watch films, enjoy life. But then also farming. Because again, it's slow paced. Like you work at your own pace. Because the only thing that dictates things is the weather. So hence you can just outside enjoying the weather. I'm still not too sure what type of farming, whether it's livestock or not. I'm leaning against livestock because it's like having kids, but they're useless.
They're animals.
If you want to do sheep farming, Scotland's got a lot of good places. Just saying.
I don't think I would like to be farming in the UK though. That's kind of thing.
Oh.
So maybe farming somewhere else. Not too sure where. Possibly going back home to Africa. Oh, yes, I know.
The homeland.
The motherland.
Again, the weather's good. You can farm well. So why not? So yeah, for me, it's just farming. And then I don't see anything else apart from that. Because at that point in time, it's like, yeah.
Have you ever, does your family have like a history of farming? Or no, this is just like...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, like massive history. Like my dad's, all my aunts, uncles, grandfather, I think grandmother on my dad's side, just farming lifestyle. Like that's all they do. They mainly, they do a bit of both. So livestock and lots of veg. No, lots of veg as well. So that's just what they do. So to me, it just makes sense. Like again, it's a simple life, but it's not much. Yeah. again, I just don't want to be doing anything that's totally stressful at that age. I just want to enjoy life and just enjoy the things that I didn't have time to enjoy when I was younger, because I spent too much time, again, just focusing on other stuff. It's like, okay, I need to get my finances in order, I need to get my life in order, get my health in order. But then at that age, it's like, yeah, everything is in order, so now I can actually enjoy it, you know? I don't like the idea of going on cruises. I find that to be weird, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
I never saw myself on a cruise, but yeah.
Manny, we should do one of those metal cruises. You know,
They have all kinds of
yeah.
They have all kinds of goofy cruises now. Like they have like ones that like wrestling cruises, or like sci-fi cruises, and those things are like cities on the water.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. It could be fun. All right, Chris, retirement.
I think for me it would be similar to yours, where I don't see myself stopping working, but I see myself stopping working for a company or someone else. Like I would want to do my own thing. I want to divert like back to the hobbies question. I would want to do more of that, like write and illustrate and try 3D. And plus the landscape of my field and many other fields is going to change. Like, I mean, they need programmers in 20 years. I don't know. Like, you know, just maybe Chat GPT will just do it, you know, and so you won't need guys like me. You only need guys like me to like whatever guide the AI, and maybe even then it would reach such a quantum singularity that won't even need us. So who knows what the future holds for that. I would want to do more creative stuff though when I'm older, and you know, just enjoy myself. I would love to do a cruise. I would love to sit there and stuff my face all day and gamble. Like
Yeah,
that,
man.
that sounds great to me. When I'm older, I'll do that. I'll do it out in the ocean.
Nice. Good stuff. All right. More questions. Alpha Chuck. All right. What are your favorite books or book series? If any of these have made the leap to movie or TV, which was the most least faithful to the source material? All right, books. So I got a couple that I like. I've been reading, rereading, I should say, the Dresden Files, urban fantasy, a lot of fun. Harry Dresden's fucking hilarious. I've also been reading The Lost Fleet, military sci-fi set in like crazy future. Fucking awesome. I love the space battles in that because they take time dilation into effect. It's like they fired a shot. All right, it's going to be here in 20 minutes. Make sure we move out of the way, you know? Or it's like we arrived in a star system. Okay, they won't see us for 5 hours until the light hits the planet. I love shit like that, you know? Anything Brandon Sanderson does. Brandon Sanderson is probably my favorite like author right now. He's just the shit. Mistborn, the Stormlight Archive, all that stuff. Good, you know, really good stuff. My only kind of gripe with Sanderson is, you know, he's a little too PG-13 for me because he's a Mormon, so he doesn't go hardcore and shit. But the writing is so fucking good, you know. And back when he used to release books, I used to like A Song of Ice and Fire, Mr. George R. R. Martin. You know, that shit was fun, but he stopped writing, you know, because it's like that dude's basically retired as far as I'm concerned. It's like, okay, you're not releasing any books, you know.
He went from being a writer to a full-time convention attender.
Yeah, apparently, you know, it's like, what are we doing now, bro? You know, you know, and then other shit I like. These aren't like novels per se, but I really like the Robert E. Howard Conan shit. Fucking awesome. You know, I like H.P. Lovecraft. I was reading some of that earlier this year. Good stuff. Yeah, books are good, man. You know, like books are better when you're not forced to read them for school and shit. That's what kind of stopped me from reading books for a long time because they forced to read all these fucking books in school and it kind of turned me off. Even though some of the books were good, like looking back, 1984 was good, Animal Farm, and even some of the Shakespeare shit we had to read, like Caesar and shit. That was dope. Yeah, but like I said in the earlier question, it's like in general you should read because it keeps your mind sharp. That's a Tyrion line, by the way. You know, like it keeps your mind sharp. You should read in some case, even if it's not a novel, like some fucking self-help book. I don't read self-help books myself, but I do like reading like science books. Like I'm reading another Michio Kaku book about parallel worlds and shit. Pretty dope. Although it's kind of fun because the book was written 20 years ago. I'm like, hey, some of this stuff's a little bit dated now, you know? So yeah, I like that stuff. It's fun. Brett, I'm going to go to you because you've read the Wheel of Time, and we actually have a Wheel of Time question for you later on. So feel free to
I'm
jump
here,
in.
but okay. So repeat the question for me.
Favorite books.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more complicated than that for some reason. Let's see. Definitely the Wheel of Time. Although
We're gonna get into that. Yeah.
Later. I also Sword of Truth, man. Like Terry Goodkind, Sword of Truth. Amazing series, man. I recently went back and started checking out the audiobooks on that one again. I felt like the first time through, like the first couple of books felt fairly generic and slow to pick up, and man, I was absolutely 100% wrong on that. Like they jump straight to it, and they do not fuck around or pull any punches. They immediately go towards some really just honestly some of the most brutal fantasy stuff I've seen outside of Conan, and even then, kind of like more like, well, I guess this is a refined literary club. Like, well, I can mention this. So there's a confessor, right? And they have the power to basically compulse people to do whatever they want. The power is, non-refundable. You can't undo it when it's done. So it's usually used as a form of like execution, right? So like you come up on somebody like, hey, this dude like has been accused of killing 9 women, and we're like 90% sure that they've done it. And so they bring in a confessor. They compulse the person, make them commit admit their crimes, and then they say like, I want you to die for me, and they'll just be so heartbroken that their heart will stop beating, and boom, executed. So there's a part I want to say it's in the first book where she catches up with, let's say, a gentleman who prefers the company of young boys.
Oh boy!
And he's doing, the old sex attack on her. I think that's probably a good way to do it. He's doing a sex attack on her.
Thank you for that.
and she releases the power, castrates him, and makes him eat it.
Wow.
Like Conan level. Holy fuck! I can't believe they just went there. So, highly recommend you read it if you're okay with that level of just sheer brutality, because man, there are some evil fucking people in some of these books.
Have you read any Joe Abercrombie stuff? Because apparently that dude's really fucking hardcore with this shit.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, because that sounds like something he would. I'll recommend you some of these books. Like I have them on my wish list, but like Joe Abercrombie, he's like, it's the stories are very much like Game of Thrones, but just more hardcore.
Yeah, and that's kind of where
we're basically like there are no good guys. Everybody's just like, fucking evil and scummy.
Yeah, well, and Tony, you'd like this. Like the whole book is, I think it's referred to as the Wizard's First Rule series. The Wizard's First Rule is people are stupid. They'll believe something whether they want to believe it, or if they either want to believe it or they're afraid to believe it. And honestly, goddamn, spot on.
I've heard a lot of people don't like Wizard's First Rule because of the author. Like apparently he's like an asshole or something, and they said he just rips off of Robert Jordan.
I don't feel so. As somebody who's a huge Robert Jordan fan, I don't think so. And he may be a complete douche nozzle. I don't know.
Terry Goodkind, that's the guy.
Yeah. I mean,
like a lot of people do not like him or his books. Yeah.
I mean, I like his books. I do not know anything about the guy. I don't know. I know like Robert Jordan was a genius, but I know nothing about him. I know Brandon Sanderson. That man's a genius and an awesome guy.
Yes.
And he loves Souls games. So definitely read his shit. Also, Icewind Dale trilogy. Like if you're looking for like the dude equivalent to like a trashy romance novel where it's just like, brah, I just want to see a dark elf and an orc murder fight each other in book form.
Yeah, R.A. Salvatore, right?
Yeah. R.A. Salvatore does like amazing job of like does some of the best fight scenes I've ever read, and like I don't know how to put it another way. Like it is, you're just reading a book where you're like, bro, that fight scene was sweet, bro. Like it's just
Brett, one of the booktubers I follow, they said R.A. Salvatore fights are events. That's what they described it as.
Yeah, because it kind of feels like a Michael Bay movie in your head. Like, it's just the way that he describes it. It just looks so cool, and there's no other way to say it other than sound like a fucking weird ass crazy Uber nerd. Like, bro, like his fight scenes are just so well choreographed, but they are. They do a fantastic job. There's not a lot of depth to the books other than sweet choreographed fight scenes and like murder porn. Not like porn, but just like, John Wick kind of like, yeah, fucking kill them all. But they're kind of fun, trashy romps, and they're super easy reads, man. They're fairly small. They're not like Wheel of Time where you're like, cool, here's 1,400 pages of hardback I'm getting ready to dive into. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, I liked reading them, but even listening to the audiobooks is like a 40-some hour endeavor some of the time. Jesus Christ. But
right.
yeah. Definitely check those out. And I think we're going to circle back to this question.
Yeah,
later.
we will. Yeah, we will. Carlos, you have any books you like?
I'll keep it simple and Tony mentioned this. A Song of Ice and Fire, one of my favorite series. We still talk. Me and Tony talk about.
It's a great series.
Well, it's definitely a great series. It has potential to be among the best, but he just freaking railroad, man. He just needs to get back into that horse because he's slacking. It's taken over a decade now for when A Dance of Dragons came out in 2011, right?
Yeah, 2011.
And, that's 12 years ago, man, and this dude ain't getting any younger. I mean, I don't read as much books today as I used to. I mean, right now I'm kind of contemplating reading the Silo series books. I don't know if you guys
know what's that about.
So it's a series. The author's Hugh Howey. They recently made a TV show based on it. It's called Silo, which is essentially just a group of people living inside a silo. It's kind of like a Fallout kind of situation. And they're living, they live their life and, wondering about what's in the outside. And, I don't, without giving too many spoilers, I just don't, it gets pretty interesting after a bit. But yeah, I want to read that series and, hopefully I can do some of that during my travels. And yeah, I mean, there's a stage in my life where I read a lot of.
What did you read back in the day? Then how about that?
Well, there's a point there in my early 20s. There's a phase in my life where I read a lot of. I don't know what the genre is. I guess critical thinking books.
Okay, interesting.
People might call it atheist books.
Oh shit.
A lot of different authors, just talking about religion and stuff like that. That at that point in time, because growing up, I grew up, very Catholic, being Mexican, and just realizing that I wasn't the only one, being critical about about a lot of stuff. It just became a place where I could read. Christopher Hitchens.
I was about to say Rich Hitchens and shit.
Yeah, so those Daniel Dennett, like those types of people. But yeah.
All right, good stuff. Chris, favorite books.
Well, I'd have to say I love stuff Peter David's written for Star Trek. Like New Frontier was really good. The Shannara series by Terry Brooks was a great, a very good series.
Very good series.
It was definitely a very good series.
There was the this was from I don't know the 90s or early, it's probably the 90s. The Dragonlance books.
Yeah, I think that was 90s. Yeah,
the Hicks and Weissman books, the Dragons of Autumn, Twilight, all those stuff. That whole series was great. I love those. I've read a couple of like Carl Sagan's books, although I The newer ones are better, like Cosmos and Pale Blue Dot and stuff. Those are good. Like I tried to read his first novel, like Braca's Brain, and I was like, my brain is gonna melt. Like I couldn't follow that fucking book. And Douglas Adams is good, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the
nice.
Galaxy. Great book.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah, go ahead. By the way, real quick, and Brett, Star Wars books. I know you like those, and also Warhammer. I'm assuming you've read some of those as well, right? Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, go ahead, Carlos.
I will say that shout out to a lot of the books that were assigned during the school years, because there's a lot of good ones, man. You know, Catcher in the Rye, Brave New World. You know, Tony mentioned a lot of the Shakespeare stuff. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
I will say this though, man. There was this one sci-fi book we read. It was like a compilation shit, right? And it had so many dope stories in it, man. You know, one story in particular, I was reading it. I'm like, yo, this sounds like the Terminator. Come to find out that author actually tried to sue James Cameron for the first Terminator. I think it was Harlan Ellison.
Harlan Ellison.
Yeah, because I'm reading this book. Hold on, that sounds like the fucking Terminator. What the fuck is this? You know?
Well, didn't they settle out of court on that one?
They did. They had to settle, I believe, right, Chris?
Yeah.
I mean, Ellison had a point. He had a point.
Yeah, he did. And there was this other story. I'll try to be brief about it, but it still stuck with me. Like, basically, this guy gets sent to this alien planet to test out this new laser gun and shit that kind of like spreads out like as you shoot. So he goes into the jungle and shit to test the gun out, and he gets like attacked by like a pack of like alien wolves and shit. So he's shooting the gun and he's killing all the wolves, but the wolves keep coming at him. He's like, oh shit. It's because they can't hear. Like, when the wolves die, they don't whimper or anything. So he starts bucking and shit. He's shooting the wolves as he's going. He gets to his ship. He goes to the airlock, and there's daylight coming. He's like, what the fuck? Because remember, the laser spreads. So he chopped his ship in half without realizing it. He's like, oh, shit, you know? And then the book ends like a year later. You know, a rescue party shows up and he's there. He made a house and everything and shit. He's chilling. And they're like, oh, wow, you're still alive. Like, oh, that laser gun came in handy. He's like, oh, it absolutely did. You see him using it to hammer nails and shit into his house. And so, yeah, that was a fun story. So yeah, those books were good. Here's the thing, Carlos, like, I hated reading some of this stuff, but looking back now, I was like, yeah, I appreciate that I read 1984. I appreciate that I read Flowers for Algernon. I appreciate that I read Animal Farm and Moby Dick, you know? But back then I was like, I don't want to read this shit. I want to read X-Men, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's because
and then you realize a lot of the inspirations came from all those books.
Yeah, but it wasn't until after the fact, you know? And then, but sometimes it was fun. Like, we would read the book and then we watch the movie adaptation afterwards. You know, like with Caesar and shit. We saw the one with Charlton Heston. You know,
oh yeah.
That was dope.
We would do that with we did that with To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, we did that with Animal Farm. We saw the cartoon. You know,
and then there's fun. The Patrick Stewart one.
Yeah, that's right. That came after the fact, you know.
And Tony, did you listen to Pink Floyd after that as well, or
no? I know Pink Floyd.
Because you know they did sort of kind of something similar to that.
Yeah. Manny, any books you like?
You know, it's funny. I don't read a lot. Which is odd, but you know, I just don't. I mean, some of the books that I classically liked, I do like The Odyssey. And I do like.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
And Othello is actually my favorite of the Shakespeare
of
the Shakespeare stories. You know, was it? There was. Confederacy of Dunces is an interesting book.
What's that about? I don't know that one.
It's one of those. It's sort of like a weird sort of picaresque story about this asshole.
Okay.
And you know,
Don Quixote, what I like too? Yeah, Don Quixote. Yeah, Lord of the Flies. I like that one. That was a good book.
I was actually going to mention that. Lord of the Flies is a good one. You know, I sort of like the lot of the classic books too.
Yeah.
So when I do read, it's usually an older book. I don't really care too much, and also older books tend to be a lot more to the point and not so massively thick like a lot of modern books are these days.
You know what I find interesting about that? I feel that older books are not to the point when it comes to the story, but you're right, the stories are shorter. But modern books, they are to the point when it comes to the dialogue, but they're 50,000 words long. And this is part 1 of 50, you know?
Yeah, it's all this big stuff. You know, like if you read a Stephen King book, it's, you know, I mean, it's a thick book, but it was never that, like, as thick as a lot of, you know, at least the George R. R. Martin, or, you know, as the, you know, some other books series has gotten like bigger and bigger as the years go on.
Yeah, because I remember when we were kids and stuff, like Lord of the Rings was considered, like, you know, the trilogy was considered really long. One book by George R. R. Martin is longer than the entire trilogy. One book.
No, I mean, like 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 if you read The Hobbit's like short, one and done. It's like a short book.
Yeah, those are fun too, by the way.
And they made 3 movies off of it.
Yeah, I don't know why they made 3 movies. They could have made one.
Why the money? You know,
they did. If they did 2, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
like they thought they were gonna do, but fucking somebody said, "Hey, make 3." And he's like, "All right."
Oh man! All right.
They should have did anything to keep Del Toro.
Del Toro, you know. Brian, books.
Unfortunately, I don't read many books. I've been looking to get into them. So I have just read out a few. I have Brave New World. I have 1984. I have the entire Witcher series and books.
Oh yeah, I read the first 2 books. They're like kind of compilation stories. That was really fun stuff.
You like The Witcher, don't you?
Have you read those yet, Brian? Did you read the short story compilations?
I have not. I've just not had time.
I'll say this though: what I like about him, it's literally, I'm like, oh, Geralt's in this fairy tale. Oh, Geralt's in this fairy tale. You know, like you could tell what fairy tales are referencing. It's just Geralt's in them. You know.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Again, my girlfriend is Polish, so she has it in both Polish and in English. So yeah. What else? I mentioned H.P. Lovecraft because why not? So yeah, I just not had a chance to. At some point, I definitely will. And I have a situation where in my parents' old room or old house, they rented it out, and the guy left, and then he left a bunch of stuff. And one of the books he left was, I think, a 1980-something copy of the Silmarillion.
Ooh, that's a good book. Yeah, I love Silmarillion.
I'm trying to get my hand on that because I think that's really cool.
Yeah, Silmarillion's dope. That's the first Lord of the Rings book, because I saw the movies. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. So I was like, hold on, I want to know more about that. So instead of reading the Lord of the Rings book, the first thing I read is Silmarillion, and I loved it because it's like a history book, and I love history. You know, it was great. I got to find the Silmarillion. Yeah, man. All right, I think we got everybody. Who is this, man? Also, yeah, what's up? One more.
Real quick shout out. I grew up reading Harry Potter. I feel like, you know, for that age, I felt like that was, you know, pretty instrumental.
That's your Lord of the Rings.
That's your Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Oh no, I read Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah. Why not both?
Why not both?
Another one from Alpha Chuck. This one's funny. Who on the panel would be most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse and why? I feel like Brett or Adam would be it, to be honest.
Brett, Adam. Possibly Chris, because he worked for a company that used to be a prepper company.
Oh shit! There you go. I'd be the first to die, obviously. You know.
Chris, do you still have all that stuff too?
Oh yeah, I got my life straws and my my 25-year survival food.
See, Tony, the key to your survival is like doing a fusion dance and like teaming up with somebody else.
Yeah. Oh no, what's going to happen is they're going to just throw me to the zombies while everybody else runs away. I already understand this, and I've accepted that.
But
you know?
Unless we give you a like at least one spiked baseball bat or a couple of spears and a cow catcher in front, and then you do like a power combo move where you just like plow through a whole street of them motherfuckers.
Yeah, that could work. You know, either way, I'm sticking with you, Brett, because I think you'll be a survivor.
Heard that a lot. I would. Yeah, I have ideas. I have plans.
Yeah.
Also,
logically dashing. What's going on, brother? Oh, I got your question. What happened, Brett? Go ahead.
Oh, I just said also I don't like people all that much. So you know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Brett is like, as long as you don't move on my side of the of the cave.
I'll tell you right now, like Tony, you're totally welcome to come along. I'm gonna have to rethink the whole getting upstairs and destroying the stairs bit of the plan.
We'll have to think about that.
I'm telling you, seesaws. Seesaws is where it's at.
I was always thinking, Brett, like, why don't they do that in films? Just destroy the stairs.
I don't know, the same way, like, bro, like, all you really have to do is have, like, 2 seesaws kind of end to end, one with the weight on the end. Like, all you have to do is have this thing where if you keep walking, you fall off a cliff, but if you stop and, like, pull a ramp down, it gives you something to climb up. Like, something as simple as that is going to stop all your zombie infestations. Then you just really need to worry about bandits. And then, just...
Drawbridge. Have a drawbridge. There you go.
Dude, you just need a choke point with some space. Like, you need a hallway with some windows on both sides. That's really, and like some sharp pointy sticks and some guns if you're lucky, but like, you just need a stabbing hallway, man.
But Brooklyn Bear said that you're describing a Dead Rising game.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
I love how Brett has just described a siege castle.
Yes.
Like, those guys were onto something.
Tower defense game. There you go.
Tell you, those motherfuckers with the castles, they knew what to prepare for with the zombie apocalypse.
Oh man! All right, anybody else with the zombie question?
I think Adam would be quite good. Like, he seems like a guy who's just prepped.
So.
Adam, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like Adam would try to talk to the zombies about wrestling. It would all be over.
No, he would just you would never really see the thing that happened to Adam. You just hear about it.
Tell you about it after the fact.
The thing is that, and then
I lost his finger.
And then that's the confirmation will be if I was there or not.
Yeah, man, you remember.
You remember when the zombies done jumped over the and then then that would be it.
Oh my god.
Hey, you remember Julio, but I pushed him down the well.
Yo, Julio just wasn't working out.
Okay, logically dashing, our friend Dave Gilton is joining us. I'm going to add your question in, even though we kind of encourage like non-gaming questions, your family, so we will answer this question,
Family.
Which video game character would you choose as your ride or die?
It's got to be Marcus Phoenix.
Marcus Phoenix of the Roadie Run.
The Roadie Run and like
for Adam it'd probably be Marcus Phoenix, and a strong second would be his son.
Marcus Phoenix's son.
Yeah, Marcus
Phoenix's son. See, I don't know about this. It's like all the characters I would choose would probably end up killing me too eventually, like Kratos and shit.
Kratos would be like, "You have betrayed me."
Like, no, I haven't. It's like I chopped my head off.
You killed Calliope.
No, you need new Kratos. Yeah. Like if you were like old PlayStation Kratos, like that. Yeah. No, he'd kill you. Yeah. No, you need mellow out of war.
Yeah. Thank you, Logic One's giving me idea. Garrus from Mass Effect. That motherfucker had my back.
I mean, yeah, he pretty much had your back.
Yeah, and he'll kill a motherfucker just cause. So yeah, that's why.
Tony, I can't wait to play Baldur's Gate for that very reason.
He is your Mr. Spock in that game.
Yeah,
I got one.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. That's my answer, Garrus.
This is Cortana.
It's Cortana.
Cortana, you never lets you down. Is an AI that cares more about Master Chief than about the programming. Shout out to Cortana.
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 Yeah. All right, Brian. What video game character would you choose as your ride or die?
I don't know. See, my first thought is Nathan Drake, because you'd want someone who's just complete maniac and is happy to kill people and then just laugh it off. So I don't know why, but I think that just sits well with me. Just like, hey, you know what? He'll just kill someone and that's it, and just laugh it off. Doesn't care.
I'll throw a wisecrack after. Hey,
exactly.
I like some of these answers. So,
Brian tells Nathan Drake, "Hey, I need to get I need to get my Cimmerillion book from the basement from my parents' basement. He kills fucking everyone trying to get it.
He kills half the
and he does it,
neighborhood.
and he does it on the roofs.
Yes.
You know, because there's a lot more platforming up there.
Whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So Logic Win says Kiryu Kazuma. That's a good one. You know, Yakuza. Brooklyn Bear says
Young
Lollipop
version?
Chainsaw. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not that one. Not that version. Not that version.
Young Yeah version
No.
the old version?
The real version. You know, the Japanese one.
Arthur Morgan.
I like that. Lollipop Chainsaw. I like that. That's a good answer. Or Arthur Morgan. Ooh, depending though, because you know, like when he's still healthy, right? You know, I don't want them like coughing and shit.
You don't want tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't get that shit on me.
Motherfucker, you cough on me?
I still remember, like, again, because you're playing a game, you don't really know about this, but that first time he does that one cough, you're like, whoa, that didn't sound right, bro.
Sound good, man.
Yeah. And then, like what was it, 20 hours later, he does two coughs, like, okay, something's up, you know? But that first cough, the first time you heard it, it's just one single, but the way he did it was like, oh, I don't like the sound of that, man. You know? Chris, did you go a ride or die video game character?
No, not yet. I was trying to think of what it would be. I don't know, maybe Doom Guy. He could handle anything.
There you go.
Especially in a zombie apocalypse. I wouldn't even have to talk to him. I would just be like, just point, like, oh,
Yeah,
shit.
over there.
Over there, man. Just go kill
He'll
him.
just go.
Yeah.
He'll put his thumbs up.
Manny, would your ride or die be Solid Snake?
Yeah, but it would depend on which era. It would depend on which era of him. I kind of would want him in his prime.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, prime.
Metal Gear
That
Solid.
old man
I'd
where
say
he's like,
Metal Gear Solid 1, where he's like, you know, grandpa in a robot in a muscle suit.
No.
I think I would want him. You know, at least Metal Gear Solid version of him.
yeah. Right. Brian, did you go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he said Drake.
Okay. Who didn't go then? I think we got everybody, right?
I didn't go.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Brett.
Brett?
I knew somebody was missing.
I got two here. One, because I am playing Baldur's Gate right now. I got to throw out for Best Girl Carlac, because she is the fucking tits. The first time you meet this bitch, she asks you to help her go along and beat the shit out of some paladins. And I was immediately like, are we best friends? But just in case that one's just a little too fresh, it doesn't count, I'm going to go with Pan Am.
Ooh, Pan Am. Yeah, she's really ride or die, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure.
She is the definition of ride or die, you know?
Yeah, I could be with you through thick and thin.
Yep. That's a good one. I like that. All right, another one from Logically Dashing. I like it. He goes, okay, non-video game questions since I didn't know the rules. It's all good, brother. You're good. What would your theme be? What would your theme song be when you show up? Think about walking down the ramp to wrestling. So yeah, my theme song would be The Touch, you know, Stan Bush, you know, or Eye of the Tiger. Actually, you know what? Eye of the Tiger. I'm going with that. Damn. You hear that shit, man? I come in, they're like, yo, Tony's here, man. Shit. You know? Like, it's about to get real right now, you know? So, yeah. I'm going to go, yeah. Stan Bush, I like, that'll be my outro song. You know, you got the touch. But the intro is going to be Eye of the Tiger. All right. Brad, I'm going to go to you because I feel you've thought about this throughout your life.
I actually not only thought about this, I've had people independently confirm, like, I feel like this would be your song, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys got me pegged. So it's Kesabe Nights by Streetlight Manifesto.
Oh, okay. Whoa. That's interesting.
There's a line in it that goes, they come for me, I'll be sitting at my desk with a gun in my hand, wearing a bulletproof vest, singing my, how the time does fly, when you know you're going to die by the end of the night. And I've had some people be like, yeah, no, that seems about your attitude whenever you kind of get into head-on-head with something. You're like, fuck it, I guess this whole place is burning down then.
All right, Manny, theme song.
The theme to Max Payne 3, Tears by Health.
Ooh, okay.
That song's a pretty awesome song.
That'll be your intro song.
That's my intro song coming down in the ring.
Nice.
It starts off slow and then it has this sort of really cool beat to it. I mean, granted, I have to say that game had a really great soundtrack in general.
Yeah, David likes that answer. Greatly approves, he says. Carlos, theme song. Mr. Romero.
I'm trying to think. This is a tough question.
Right, you want me to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me on that one.
Right, Chris, theme song.
Shit. I don't know. I never gave this any thought.
All right, fair enough. Brian, do you have one?
I love how random this question is, and the only person that has an answer is like Brett and Tony.
Manny had one too. To be fair,
I had an answer.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a lot of my life.
I never thought about this. Okay. Here's one. And this one is slightly cliched, but I think it's worth it because I have nothing else. UI Goku theme. So his Ultra Instinct Mastered theme, but the drip version of that, not the original version.
All that went all that shit went right over my head.
Carlos might know it. Carlos, surely you've seen the meme of Drip Goku. Please say that you've seen it. Yes.
Yeah.
So the UI Drip Goku theme, I think it's good enough.
Yeah, I've been thinking. Brian, I was kind of going towards that direction, but I think I have an answer. It's gonna be Rough Riders anthem for me. DMX. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking because that was the first thing that came to mind was a rock song, but I feel like it'd be too cliche. But yeah, so I'll go with a hip hop song. Fuck it.
All right, cool. All right, good stuff. That's a fun question. Right, who is this guy, man? Eurocar? Who is this guy, man?
Oh, it's not Eurocar. It's Eurocar 9.
Eurocar 9. He's the 9th version, man. Shit is crazy. First question here: if you could live in one city that another Throwdown member currently lives in, New York as a whole doesn't count, only Queens, what would it be? Money is a factor. Money is a factor here. Note, you can't choose your own city or a city you have previously lived in. So it has to be a Throwdown member where they live.
In the same city. Yeah, so it's another city that another Throwdown member lives in. You know, I mean, theoretically, I would say where Brian lives.
Oh, in England?
Does it be in England.
So the outskirts of London?
Yeah, the outskirts of London. Seems like a cool place. Plus, it's a different world. It's not, not what we're used to. So
yeah, I've been thinking about this question all day.
I'm your neighbor, Brian.
There you go. Yeah, I've been thinking about this all day because I'm like, literally for me, any other place I could live in is a downgrade in the world. I'm like, I live in New York. It's the fucking greatest city in the world. I'm already here, But Manny, I like your answer because if I could live in close to an equivalent of New York, it would probably be London. They speak English over there. So I'm going to go with that answer too. I'm going to go live where Brian lives.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to where Chris is at.
Oh, Austin?
Okay,
Austin.
I'll piggyback off of Brett.
It's warm. I like barbecue, and clearly I like Latinos.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm similar to Brett. I choose Austin because it's a ever growing city. It's going to become the Silicon Valley of the South. I don't have to change my fucking driver's license, and there's just a lot to do. A lot of good food, great barbecue. You really can't replicate the barbecue from Central Texas.
But you have the issue of Austin essentially growing so fast, but the infrastructure not growing with it. So you're going to be in a lot of traffic that's very similar to LA.
Oh yeah, yeah. and Chris knows this.
Chris is like,
shit has
fuck these
changed.
guys. I was here first.
Yeah. Brian, what's your answer?
I think Austin. I've pretty much
Chris, you have a lot of
everything I
neighbors.
hear from the US
Damn.
is Austin is like where it's at the moment. Like everyone that talks about the US and where to live, everyone's like, oh yeah, Austin's good. Oh, Austin has this and has that. I was like, okay, sounds nice, so why not? Again, I just don't want to go to New York. It's nothing to do with anything to do with Tony. It's just New York is so much like London to the point where it's like, nah, I'm all right. I'm done with massive cities where it's just grind. So like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. By the way, Brian, I find it telling that me and Manny are going to London probably because it's the closest equivalent to New York we could find.
Well, I mean,
at least for me, that's my thing. I'm like, okay, like the weather is close enough. I know it's dreary over there, but we got shitty weather over here too. So I'm like, yeah, because then I was like, what's the closest equivalent to New York? London. So that's my answer.
I chose London because it's just in another country, so different than what we're used to. So it's still familiar. It's still familiar, but still foreign at the same time.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't want to live in London. I mean, I would want to live outside of it.
Yeah, I want to live in London.
I don't want to live. I've never really lived in a city. I've always lived out on the outskirts of the city.
Yeah.
And I prefer the peace of mind of being able to get away from all of that and just be like, hey, look, they're trees, Gandalf. I liked where I live. I liked where I used to live because it was like, you get into, obviously it took us a long time to get to get to Manhattan or New York, but it was, you could get away from it and you didn't need to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, me, Manny, I'm very happy where I am right now. I'm like, this is great. I'm 30 minutes from the city and shit. I see buildings everywhere, no fucking trees. This is good, I'm like, I don't want to see any fucking nature,
Granted, I would say it's nicer at your place because it's actually a newer building. The most urban that I lived in was the place that I lived in, where Chris, we're further down Main Street, and like I felt like it was getting too urban to me over there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially being so close to Jamaica, I was like, oh,
Jamaica,
not the
fun
country.
Jamaica, the New York Jamaica,
or the lousy Jamaica.
Yeah, Chris, what about you?
Well, everybody's moving here, so I might as well stay, right?
Yeah, right. Barbecue. Let's go have a barbecue cook-off.
But I think as I get older and more crotchety, I would. Where does Adam live? I would just live there.
Yeah, in Iowa,
rural Iowa.
Yeah,
and just
he's getting a lot more bang for his buck up there. So
just go where my neighbor is like 2 miles away from me. That's great. That's why he'll survive. That's why he'll survive the zombie apocalypse because
there's nobody around,
Yeah, you'd have 2 zombies walking around, and it's like, it'll take them like a day to get over here. I'll shoot them then.
Yeah, right. Fun stuff. All right, moving on here. Next question: if an Earth-ending disaster was imminent, let's say next month, and you were given the option to be aboard the only ship that would contain the only remaining surviving humans, would you go on the ship not knowing what lies ahead or say deuces to everything? That's me. I'm going down with this ship, Mother Earth. Let it come. I'm going with it. I was born here. I'm going to fucking die here. Let's go. I'm not getting on no starship. I want to die right here. So, Manny,
I wouldn't.
What's your answer?
It's a weird one because it's like, the starship. To be honest, I would much rather have stay here, but have some part of me, go into the starship. Whether that be some part of my DNA or something like that.
Ooh, that's interesting. Okay.
So in other words, like
Maybe should I jizz into a cup? Take this with you.
To be honest, if you think about it, that's the only surefire way to to be assured that the human race would survive if our DNA was literally, because people wouldn't be able to make the journey wherever.
Man is like, yo, in a couple of generations, y'all motherfuckers gonna be inbred. Here's some sazon.
Yeah, some sazon, Yeah. So I guess the question is like assured death by staying on Earth or probable death by getting on a starship.
I mean, you could have all kinds of crazy stuff like like Knights of Sidonia and shit like that.
All right.
I mean, am I the only one who would choose Starship? Not because there's a greater chance of survival, because there's a definite chance of, or definitely greater chance of adventure,
exploring space.
But it's not even that. Just like man, you want to talk about like giving yourself purpose and or meaning? Be like, how about the future of the human race? It doesn't even have to be like, oh, are you the person to invent something or find something? Like, no, motherfucker, you just go along to be the guy that stabs that one guy in case he's getting, God King Emperor plans.
I don't know. I almost feel
he's like, look, the one person's like, I am now the king of Mars. You'd be like, well, I guess it's my job to kill that motherfucker.
I don't know. I could feel like being stuck in like a tube going in. I almost feel like things getting like Snowpiercer. We're a giant train.
Shit's gonna get weird. Shit's gonna get real weird.
Yeah. No, I'd rather just go. And my thing is like, just in case. I know. You know what? Never mind. Oh fuck, that throws out my whole answer. Because I was gonna say, in case hell is real, I want to be like one of the people that died on Earth. But it's like, I think dying on a spaceship would be a better story to tell in hell, right? Oh, you got hit by a car. That's cool. I died in fucking space, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you heard of something called spaghettification?
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Shit, I may have to rethink this answer now.
Like go into space.
I mean, also, what if it's not hell? What if it's Valhalla, Tony? Chances of getting into Valhalla way better if you died knife fighting somebody on a spaceship.
Yeah, that's right. That's funny. Chris, what about you? What's your answer?
Oh well, I have a family to take care of. We're getting on board the starship, and I'm finding Brett immediately so we could pair up the survival food I have and our ammo and knives. so we shank anybody and any fucking aliens. We're taking this shit.
Yo, Brooklyn Bear.
Law of the jungle. All bets are off.
Yeah. Brooklyn Bear says, I don't want the ship as an option because I know damn well only rich people will be on it.
That's where the shanking comes in.
Like I said,
I was thinking that's what
Snowpiercer.
We're stabbing them too.
Like I said, Snowpiercer, and you'll be like Chris Evans. You'll know what babies taste like.
Oh, shit.
Chris is like, rich people aren't immune from shanks.
Yeah, right. Get out of the way of my stabbing.
That's right. I'm practicing my stabbing.
Brian, answer.
Okay, so quick background. There's a film called Aniara. Has anyone heard of this? It's an adaptation. It's an adaptation of a poem of the same name.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. Basically, if you've seen that film, that's exactly why I don't want to go in a massive spaceship with other people. The long story short, they're going somewhere, they get hit by asteroids, and they lose their drive. And they're just floating in space. And if you know anything about space, it's empty as fuck.
Yep.
So you're just floating. The best comparison I can think of is imagine someone just dropped you in the middle of. I was get this two mixed up. Which one's the larger ocean?
Pacific.
Yeah. Someone drops you randomly in the Pacific Ocean and you can only move 1 centimeter per day.
Shit.
That's just how vast the whole thing is. And because of that, I don't want to be on a spaceship. I'd rather die on Earth. At least then I'll be somewhat happy and it'll be quick. Whereas floating out in space, it'd be miserable.
Yeah.
And as Manny said, there'll be a bunch of rich people and chances are they'll touch kids. So no.
Oh, man. All right. Carlos, what's your answer?
There's a lot of good answers in this query. A pretty good question to Mr. Yocar9. Shout out to him.
Wait, when did Richard get here?
Yeah,
that's very good series. I would just go with Earth. Because Brian mentioned probably the best point. Space is extremely vast, and it's just going to be like there's the window seats are probably the worst seats because you're not seeing anything.
Yeah. Are you guys just afraid of dying in interesting ways?
Yes, I want to die in a short way.
Well, what if you don't die? What if you don't die in an interesting way? What if you die in the vast reaches of space of starvation?
Yeah,
that's not that interesting.
Also, I feel like there's a pretty good chance that people being trapped inside a spaceship, looking at the windows with nothingness, is going to lead to a lot of shinings in
Space Madness. Remember that episode of remember is Ren and Stimpy Space Madness? It's going to hit you, man.
I mean, I get that, but like there's some about like the competitive nature. Be like, all right, motherfucker, this is a battle royale of the last 20 humans on Earth. Be like, okay, I'm listening.
And that is Aniara.
Yeah, that is exactly what I don't want to be embroiled in. Fuck that.
Like, I wouldn't mind if it's like a thing where you just cryo freeze you. It's like, okay, cool, you're frozen, and then you'll get there when you get there, or you'll just float.
The con effect.
That's fine.
No, man. Especially if you give somebody the motivation, like, look, here's Chris. He's got some of the last good DNA. It is your job to see that DNA across the end zone. Like, all right, motherfucker, let's do this. Give me a shotgun and a bayonet.
Oh, man. All right. Another fun question here. What is one quote unquote conspiracy theory or urban myth that you actually believe in? JFK, Great Pyramids, Loch Ness, Bigfoot, aliens, etc. Let's not go with anything that's part of the current political climate. I'm glad Eurocard added that in there because, thank you. Brett, I'm going right to you, man, because you're like Mr. Conspiracy Theory.
I mean, maybe, I guess. Let's see. Ancient civilization. I've long believed that like human history pushes back pretty far, before we actually know it, because like we have Denisovian fossils that are like 70,000 years old that show stratified labor and specialized tools, which to say that just happened for us like 6,000 years ago, and then we found Göbekli Tepe, and they're like, okay, so like maybe 9,000, okay, maybe 12,000 years ago. Here's the thing: most civilizations, especially back in antiquity, existed along the coast, and the coast was like 300 feet lower then than it was now. That's not to mention the fact that like there was a huge flood during the Younger Dryas period, which could be the seed for a lot of the whole, worldwide flood myth kind of thing. And it all just kind of points to like, it'd be really easy for there to be really ancient civilizations that we just built on top of or lost. And it sounds fucking ridiculous until you realize like China manages to like lose like the fucking gigantic tombs that are entire mountains in like the span of 400 years. So like saying, oh yeah, there's a 15 to 20,000 year old city somewhere on the ocean floor covered with 200 feet of mud, but we would have totally found it by now. Yeah, that's kind of bullshit. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
By the way, anytime Brett mentioned Göbekli Tepe, every time I think about that word, I think it in the voice of what's the name of that guy? Graham Hancock.
I was thinking the same thing.
That motherfucker says Göbekli Tepe every interview he's ever in.
Yeah. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say I quote believe that because I don't have the evidence, but I am open to the idea that there was a civilization that we don't know about. That like when it ended, it's like people kind of spread out across the world and kind of disseminated all that knowledge, because there's a lot of stories that are very similar to each other around the world, right? And obviously we don't, the flood actually came from like the icebergs and shit or whatever melting, so we know that's real, so, but again,
that was a meteor. But it was a meteor that hit an iceberg.
Yeah, well, I mean, the polar ice caps are melting anyway, but my point is I am open to that theory because it makes sense to me. I'm not saying I believe it because we don't have it. I'm just skeptical by nature,
Tony.
Yeah.
Look at it this way.
Go ahead.
A lot of the monuments in South America actually get like the stonework gets bigger and more intricate, the lower down you go.
Yeah, like I said, I'm open to the theory, but I'm not going to say I believe it because you shouldn't believe shit to begin with, you know. But yeah, I'm open to it because it makes sense to me. You know, it's like, oh, the ancient civilization, something happened that destroyed it, and then its descendants spread knowledge to whatever people. You know, that makes sense to me. Anyway, Manny, do you have any conspiracy theories or urban myths that you believe?
No, not really. I mean, here's the thing. It's not. It's fun. It's fun to think about these sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I don't really necessarily believe it because, to be honest, I'm the sort of person that like seeing is believing. Right? If there's proof to say it, to say that this thing happened, like full empirical proof. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sure. But I just sort of leave the what was it, the notebook open if anybody wants to write into it, with the right yeah. But yeah, I always like to joke around like, yeah, hey, when they fake the moon landing, it's
silliness.
It's silliness, but
Yeah, but yeah, generally I like that. I'm like that. I'm like, I need to see evidence. I'm not gonna just believe shit.
Or or the stuff that just sounds nuts, where it's like, apparently, what was it that they found that like somehow like, you visually seeing something, in the far reaches of space actually affects it somehow. Like that sounds like a draw distance to me.
That's actually quantum physics.
I know what they're talking about. That's what you would call it. Oh my God, Brett, why am I blanking on it?
Quantum
entanglement. Yes, that is actually a thing.
It's the collapse of the wave function tied to the photons from distant stars that they just use to kind of reenact the whole double slit experiment at distance, which shows non-locality of a temporal sort, which means time and locality isn't real anyway. So, yeah, no, that's the kind of that's why I like quantum physics. I'm like, the more I learn about quantum physics, the more I'm convinced that magic might be real because reality is fucking weirder than you think.
Either that, or you can say that all the crazy conspiracies that the world is really a simulation that's just been running
Brett's open to that too, though.
Theory is, I thought about bringing up simulation theory, but I'm like, bro, I don't even know if that's conspiracy theory. That's just what all evidence kind of points to at this point. So
what happens when the program runs down? I guess we're all deleted, right?
That's when you get on the spaceship and start shanking.
There you go.
but the thing is that, like, it'll be just like, what's his face, Moriarty in Star Trek, right? We're just a ship in a bottle because all it is just a simulated universe, anyways.
Yeah, I like how you said Moriarty, and I thought like of Colin 3 Moriartys instantly. I'm like, Colin Moriarty. You're talking about what's his name? The detective.
Yeah, well, yeah. Remember, he was in a few episodes of the Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah. All right, Carlos, answer conspiracy. Yeah, any you believe?
Believe is a strong word for the simulation one, but I will say that I'm more open to the simulation. I mean, I was open to it, when I was younger, but even every passing day, I feel like I get more open to that one. It's just too logical because there's been so many examples of us doing simulations to different things. So why is the possibility end at us? One thing also that I believe in, and this used to be more controversial back in the day, but the whole thing with, are we the only life in the universe? I'm probably 99% sure that we are not really the only ones.
Conspiracy. That's like
basic
math now,
Well, you think it would be, but there's people that think that the Earth is 13,000 years old.
Yeah,
so,
well, those people are crazy. We don't listen to those people,
Well, they were the majority for a huge percentage of our lifetime. So
yeah, but I'm talking about now. Now it's like, come on,
okay. So let me ask you this.
I wouldn't consider that conspiracy theory.
as somebody who believes that there's probably life out there somewhere, so says the math, right?
Yeah. That's where I'm going with the math. Yeah.
Okay. And you also believe in the existence of theoretical wormholes, right?
I don't know. I don't have enough evidence for that.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a belief thing. I maybe should have phrased that.
like Brett, what Brett's saying, like, does the logic fit? You know?
Oh yeah, sure.
Wormholes theory, yeah, the logic fits. So like,
sure.
So my question is,
there's a logic
I know you don't necessarily believe that anything. You're not one of those people that believe that anything could have visited Earth.
No. I want to be clear. I'm not convinced anything has visited Earth. Something could have happened. I don't know, maybe, but I'm not convinced. I haven't seen any evidence for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're just abstaining. I thought you were one of those people that you're like, nah, they didn't come here. I'm like, well, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like,
yeah,
I believe we've been seeing some weird shit lately.
Yeah,
but like, do I think that that's a UFO necessarily, like an alien? Like,
I think it is a UFO. It's just unidentified. Again, I stick with that U part. The U part is very, very important.
Yeah,
unidentified.
It could be aliens. It could be aliens. But here's the other thing. It could be a reflection from a different dimension, right? Like, what if there's just some kind of quasi wormhole kind of thing, like, and you're just kind of seeing a shadow from a different dimension? That's equally plausible to me. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, but again, that's all stuff that science backs up.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but sure.
Yeah. But yeah, just to be clear, it's not that I don't believe they've been here. It's just I haven't seen any evidence to make me think otherwise. But it could have happened. I don't know. You know, who knows? You know?
I think at a certain point, like after like I've started to hear enough credible people kind of saying shit that I'm like, all right.
But that's the problem, though. Those people, I don't. Even though they're credible, they're still humans. They're still bound to be flaws in their vision and shit. Like I need more than that. I like one of these people. Bring me an object here. Look at this shit.
There's this thing in court where they say eyewitnesses are mostly never reliable.
Yeah, I would.
I get that, but when you have like corroborated witnesses, but here's kind of like the devil's advocate. I'll kind of ask: do you think that if they had physical evidence, that they would let that anywhere near the public?
I don't think we are competent enough to hide that shit. That's what I'll say. People go, "Oh, the government's hiding us." No, they're not. They're too fucking incompetent to do anything like that. You know,
dude. They keep top secret projects and shit all the time.
And it leaks all the time too, you know?
Well, the whole thing with the aliens visiting us, that's the biggest bullshit ever. Like when the people would talk about, oh, the aliens came to Earth and crashed down and now we're hiding them. I'm like, really? You mean a society that was smart enough to probably do interstellar travel somehow reached Earth and now somehow they are like, oops. You know?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Oh, no. I'd be more inclined to believe like if we had ever found any kind of like wreckage or anything like that from like a probe or something like that, that you would immediately cover that shit up and never let it see the light of day, because all you're going to do is cause an international incident the second somebody finds out about that shit.
Yeah, but again, I need more evidence, man. All right, did everybody go with the conspiracy stuff?
I did not.
Okay, go ahead.
There's not really much to say.
Yeah,
It's hard to say what, because most of what I thought was a conspiracy has turned out to be true, which is kind of weirding me out. But at the way things currently stand, I'm kind of more like with Tony on most stuff where there's just not many conspiracies that can make sense to me given what we know. So it's kind of like, okay, that seems a bit. Like, for example, the JFK second shooter thing. It's like, I don't know enough about guns to really make a comment on that, but it just seems rather weird. And I don't know if it's a conspiracy to say this, but I'm sure it was the CIA that killed him because, again, you don't trust the government. You never trust the government.
You should never trust the government.
After I found out that MK Ultra was real, and then I found out all the other programs, it's like, yeah, just don't trust the government. They're not trustworthy at all. So chances are anything that goes wrong, it's their fault. So I just don't think there's anything. Again, like you can say stuff like flat Earth, hollow Earth. Nah, it doesn't make sense.
Nonsense.
The universe is flat, though.
Mandela
it kind of is. Yeah.
Have you seen that diagram where they have like all the planets as like spheres, and then they have like a flat Earth, and then it says this is what the flat Earth people think is happening. It's like that makes it seem even more stupid.
Oh my god.
The latest one.
You're wrong. It's a projection on inside of a dome or something like that on the back of a turtle.
God. Chris, you didn't go yet, right?
There's one that popped
you go
up.
After Brian, then. Yeah.
There's like one that popped up quite recently, and I know, Carlos, you said not to mention this, but this one is quite funny. There's this weird conspiracy where people think that you can land on gas giants. I don't think that's true.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Chris, go ahead, man.
Well, it's tough. Like I agree with a lot of what you guys said. The only couple of things I think of, like Brett just mentioned, Mandela effect, and that's a weird thing because it's like, could we all misremember certain things? Sure, but there's just weird things that happen. I'll talk about Berenstain Bears and stuff. I had one where I was watching this guy's video and he was talking about Moonraker, the James Bond movie. And the girl with the braces, except she never had braces. And I went,
never had braces.
Me up. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. But that was the whole connection. Like, Jaws has metal in his mouth, and he smiled, and she smiled at him, and she had braces. And I remember that. I saw the movie as a kid. And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking me up right now. There's all sorts of stuff, like Jiffy Peanut Butter never existed, and just certain things you find out. It's like, maybe I remembered it wrong.
Wait,
what? You fucked Carlos up.
Jiffy Peanut Butter doesn't exist?
No, it was, what was it called? Jiffy? It was just called Jif.
Jif.
It's always been called Jif. There was no Jiffy Peanut Butter. See, there's things like that, and you're like, what? And there's a ton of stuff people come up with, and it's like, that's some weird shit. I don't know. I could blame CERN. I could be like, turn that shit off. But I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Logically dashing. I like what he said here because I'm more open to this than aliens having visited Earth. My favorite alien conspiracy theory is that aliens are actually evolved humans and their spacecraft are time traveling vehicles they used to study their history. Us. Somebody needs to make a sci-fi novel. Yeah. I'm like, I think traveling through space is like through time is easier than traveling through space. So I think those motherfuckers are just us. I don't know, man.
Have you guys seen
I would say I'm more open to that theory,
Or interdimensional beings.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, yeah. That's I could also see that because when you really learn about how big fucking space is, how dangerous, you're like, nobody wants to do that. That's crazy talk,
Well, dude, like they've shown math, like they don't have the energy to put into making it, but like they've shown the math, like if you had enough energy, you could create and maintain a stable wormhole bridge. And they're finding ways to like, oh yeah, like they've written a bunch of papers on like faster than light travel actually is possibly feasible by compressing space-time in front of yourself and expanding it behind yourself. The only problem is you get a ridiculous amount of Hawking radiation, but if you could find a way to channel that away from the ship or create a bubble, then you
gotta find a way
travel
though.
Faster than light.
Yeah,
but like
again, I understand the theory.
There's more ways that point towards it being possible than impossible.
I never said impossible though. I haven't been convinced.
No, I know. I'm saying when a lot of people like yeah, space is huge, but like the second if we could actually figure out some sort of like wormhole or faster than light kind of thing, like space doesn't become that impossibly huge anymore.
Yeah, all right, another one from Mr. Logically Dashing. That is the third question, so that's good. He got 3 questions in. And it's also why we're on our third hour. We're going to keep going, people. Okay, if you could snap your fingers and make one thing happen that would benefit humanity, what would it be? Manny, I'll start with you first. I'll go down the line.
Everybody gets free medical on the planet. So whatever you got wrong with you, you just go to the doctor. No red tape, no bullshit. Just go. That's it.
All right. Carlos.
Manny's answer is kind of similar to what I was kind of thinking. I was thinking more of just eradicating all diseases.
All right, I'll go next. Since you used eradicating, eradicate all mankind. That would benefit us all. Like that's it. We're the only ones fucking up this planet. You get rid of us, everything will be fine. So that's my answer. Kill all humans.
Oh, Doctor, You've turned you've sufficiently turned it to Doctor Doom.
Yes.
Calm down, Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, but no, but Doctor Doom wants to rule. I'm like, just kill everything, you know? Not the animals, just the humans, you know? See, logic, you understand. He's going to get into the harder problem. We're the fucking problem. All right, Brett, what's your answer? One thing you could do to, make humanity better.
Jeez, I'm still kind of reeling from your answer. That was fucking extreme, man. Jesus.
First thing that came to mind.
Let's just get rid of cancer. Let's start there.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Brian.
Ooh, it's a tough one. Again, Tony's one is still kind of like on the extreme end. It's like, okay, Thanos, okay, calm down, please.
Yeah, but he only wanted half. I'm like, all,
Yes.
That's worse.
Yeah.
I want them all destroyed. Yeah. Even yourself, especially myself.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know.
So Brian's like eradicate Tony.
Eradicate Tony.
Before he does it to us.
The only thing I can think of is, and this may tell my mentality, get rid of politicians.
Oh shit.
I honestly think that the world,
career politicians or just politicians in general,
most, like 90% of them should be gone, in my opinion, from all walks of life. Because the one thing I've noticed, and this kind of goes back to like the first question that we had about advice, is everything that politicians do, they make it worse. I've still yet to find anything that politicians have done, or that the government / politicians, whatever you want to call it, has got involved in that has improved. It just seems to get worse. So it's like, no, just get rid of it.
Would that include the aristocracy?
Well, the whole thing Brian's mentioned. The whole thing Brian is mentioning is something that I was thinking about saying during that question that Brian called back on. Just not, being your own person and not taking too many heroes. I guess I don't know how, like, influence is the word now, but there's a lot of people that's whole purpose is to influence people, whether it's a politician, whether it's a YouTuber, someone popular in social media. At the end of the day, their motivations are completely different from yours, and you have no clue what their motivations are. They could be someone proselytizing something that they actually believe in, or it could be someone that's hiding an insecurity and trying to scam people because they're grifters. Like Brian mentioned, most politicians are grifters because that's part of the job. And but I feel like this is bigger than just politicians. I feel like this is a lot of people, especially with social media. We get to see a lot of people just trying to use influence to direct people a certain way because it's beneficial to whatever cause or whatever intentions or whatever is going to put money in their pockets. And I feel like that's the bigger issue.
Yeah. All right, Chris, what about you?
And all these answers were so bleak. I was going to give everybody replicators. Abundance. I was going for the hopeful one, but it's like everyone's dead. Manny had a good one. The free medical care was good.
Yeah, everybody's got to go to the doctor and get anything, get checkups, everything.
Eradicate cancer, but then it's like, kill all politicians or just kill everybody.
Chris, because my thinking is any cure you have or whatever, there's still going to be other problems. I'm like, okay, get rid of it all. and you're done.
That's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Exactly. Get rid of the baby too. You know.
I thought Chris was gonna say like something's like mine's like really simple. Like give everyone a number 2 pencil.
Logically
Give everyone a pencil.
I like that, David. He goes, Manny wants to save everyone. Tony wants to kill everyone. Yep.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, it's like for me though, mine is more of the lowest of the not the lowest, but like it's the lightest of them. In other words, giving everybody the ability to go to the doctor, because there's so many people that are right now that can't even like sicknesses alone, right? But they don't even have the chance to go to the doctor just because of the way how screwed up the fucking system is. So why can't why can't you just go to the doctor if you got something wrong? And it creates so many like issues, like people who don't go to the doctor for years because of just the expense, right? Because of all the shit that has to happen after. That shouldn't be a thing, but it is, which is unfortunate. Those of us who've ever gone to the doctor or who had loved ones who've gone to the doctor, and you see those fucking bills come in and you don't have the insurance to pay for it. I just look at it that way. It's like, why do we need to, in this land of the free, why can't we just go to the doctor and get some, and get diagnosed and get fixed or get whatever we need?
Because we're not the free ones.
We're not the free ones.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Mob hits. All right. What is now we're gonna lighten things up. What is the panel's favorite season of the year and why? Summer, because I hate fucking winter. That's why. In New York, it's cold 8 months of the year, man. I'm freezing my ass off the whole time. So when it's summer and it's 100 degrees, you'll never hear me complain about it be too hot. Because it's too fucking cold in New York all the time. I love New York, but that's the one thing I don't like about New York the most. The weather sucks here. It's always fucking cold, Like right now it's nice and shit's like 70, 80, but that's not gonna last. It's gonna be freezing as fuck, But when it's like hot, because I could beat heat. Heat is easy. Drink some cold water, get under the shade. When it's cold, you can't do shit. I bundle up, drink hot stuff. Doesn't fucking matter. You feel that in your bones, So yeah, that summer for me for sure.
Somebody's retiring to Florida.
Yeah, I just want to say,
no, that muggy shit. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Well, by the time Tony's retirement age, they're gonna get a lot more hurricanes than they're getting right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, Florida. Fuck that shit. Yeah, go ahead, Manny. What's your favorite season?
Spring or fall.
Yeah. I would pick those, but we don't get those in New York.
Well, like I said, yeah, we do.
For a week or two,
Well, I mean, since recently, but those points, like at least in fall has been pretty consistent. Maybe not spring so much, but yeah, those are my favorite times of the year. In fact, that is what a lot of the West Coast sort of feels like. It's sort of like spring, fall weather.
Yeah.
So I like those times. I like those times, and then plus, in fall, the leaves look really nice when they turn colors.
I hate that
but
shit.
That's my two favorites.
Shit on the floor.
Is that before or after the wildfires?
Yeah. Right. Fucking Canadians. Carlos, favorite season.
Yeah, I'm lockstep with Manny on this one. Fall and spring. I just feel like those are the two. Those are for me. For me, it's like the Goldilocks zone of temperatures. That's sustainable for me to be outside for a significant period of time. Because no matter what Tony tells you, the Texas summers will fucking kill you.
Oh shit!
Like literally, it will fucking kill you. And Chris knows it's too much, man. It fucking and winters are all right. They're really okay. But falls and springs are just, even though they can get cold, at least in New York. I was in New York in the March, April timeframe, and it was cold, but still felt like it was pretty good.
Yeah. Brett, favorite season?
Summer.
Nice.
Summer.
My man.
I like the warmth. Like it's it's like 95, and I'm still like, fuck yeah, it's gorgeous outside. Yeah, like Tony said, like, here's the thing. Everybody who's like, oh, in the summertime or in the wintertime, you can just put more clothes on, but in the summertime, you can only take so many clothes off. Fuck you, you disingenuous asshole. You either know that that's not true when you're arguing in bad faith, or you just don't understand what it's like to actually be fucking cold. Because that shit gets in your bones.
In your bones, exactly. Yep.
Until you, like, you could, like, sleep, you can go, like, until you take a piping hot shower, that shit is in your bones. It is not going anywhere.
And even the piping hot shower is not a guarantee either, you know?
Yo, Brett.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, you will go to sleep and then wake up still with that shit in your bones. You'll be like, why is my core fucking cold? I'm under like 9 blankets.
Oh, Brett, man. I know you know this feeling because you lived in Chicago or Illinois. I went to Chicago in early February a decade ago. It was the fucking worst, man. It was so fucking cold. Like, I've never felt it like that before. It's crazy, man. Yeah, that's it. Those winters and especially in you know those areas in fucking Illinois and Minnesota and those places, it's fucking no joke.
Yeah. Like, how about we take cold northern air, blow it across the Great Lakes, and then just shoot it directly, like, we'll funnel it through the city blocks directly at you so it can come at you like 120 miles an hour.
Fuck. Brian, favorite season?
I'm good with many of this. I like the fall/autumn because trees look nice. It's not too cold, it's not too hot either. It's nice. Sometimes it rains, so you get that nice chill vibe. So autumn.
Do you get more than 2 weeks of it?
It's pretty much the UK at any time of the year.
Oh.
You know, it's like, oh, it's a Monday in September. Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's a Monday in May. Oh, it's snowing. It's like, yeah, it's just constant fall here. You know, you get like 2 months of summertime, and then the rest of the time just fall. So yeah. Again, as Manny said, the trees look really nice. You know, you have the reds, the purples in some trees, the oranges. You know, the yellows. You know, it's nice.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Favorite season?
Well, it was formerly summer, and then I moved here. And it is melting hot outside a lot, and I would agree with you. Like, winter is cold in New York. New York is cold a lot, and I used to love summer too because it was like, you know, you associate with vacation, having fun, and going.
That's right.
Traveling, but now I'm older. I'm like winter because I want it to be cool here. It doesn't really get cold except like 1 or 2 days where it will like snow, and I put air quotes around snow, where like a little bit of ice will fall on the ground, and then 2 days later it'll instantly melt, and it'll be almost back to like boiling hot again. So it's like now I appreciate the winter, and also I started liking winter more when I was snowboarding because that's when you do it, and I was like, wow, this is fun. But yeah, I kind of appreciate winter.
But I mean, you've always been Mr. Freeze. You know, like, you used to leave the windows open in the winter.
Yeah, I hate being hot, and like my electric bill right now.
Hey, you moved to Texas?
Well, but here's the thing: it's like I can't win anywhere. New York gets hot and muggy. Florida is a swamp, right? Where could I go? I would have to move to northern Canada if I wanted to. Like, I'm gonna live in the ice. No, I'd have to go into some extreme shit. I'm like, fuck that.
Right, you go to Colorado. It's never humid there.
Fuck Colorado.
Oh yeah. If you hate humidity and like cold weather, that's a terrible place to be.
I like oxygen. I don't want to be high up.
By the way, the new trailer for Godzilla -1 dropped. Give me this movie. It looks fucking dope. Yeah.
Is it a real trailer or is it just that teaser?
No, it's an actual trailer because they said it was dropping on Monday, and sure enough, it's Monday. So there you go.
Well, you know.
Yeah,
I really didn't care for that. I didn't really care for the Anno Godzilla.
Well, this is an Anno
so.
Godzilla, so you're right there. You know.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this is
going
an
back
Anno.
to
Yeah, they're going.
With
traditional.
those,
Yeah.
with those robots that are supposed to be humans in it.
Yeah, no, it's not Anno related at all, Manny. So don't worry about it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. All right. Next question here. What is the panel's top 5 action movies of all time? We could all just dive in with this one.
I don't know, Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, Predator,
Terminator 2.
RoboCop,
Pacific Rim.
Sure, yeah, great fucking movie.
Sure, if you want.
Yeah,
Is that considered an action movie?
it's an action. It is. There's plenty of action in it. You know.
Die
I don't know what else you would
I'm-
consider it.
Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard. Of course, Die Hard. You know.
John Wick.
Part 2.
John Wick. Yep. Yeah, lots of good movies there.
The Bourne trilogy.
Yes. Yeah, trilogy. I like.
It's one movie. It's
Yeah.
one movie.
Yeah. I like the Mission Impossible movies. You know, those are good, except for the second one.
There's Bullet, which is a classic, which was
that's a
Steve
good one.
McQueen.
Yeah.
Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, man.
It's hard to just do 5.
It's
Yeah,
hard to
that's
do
why
a
I'm like.
five. We're
That's
just
why I'm like.
naming,
Let's just go crazy. You know.
just naming some stuff.
All right, yeah, I think we named a bunch of good ones there. Next up here, this one's silly. If you had a choice, would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe and talk like Darth Vader? Darth Vader, man. Even though like you're like, fucking hyperventilating, you still sound dope. Like Luke,
you sound bad.
your father. You know,
you sound badass.
Yeah, man.
Because Luke's what's his face? Anakin knew, because he knew he sounded like a wussy, so he's like, "Yo, give me the coolest voice ever."
Yeah, right.
Yo, man, that's that line where he's like, the sand gets everywhere. That shit hits harder with the Darth Vader voice.
The sun gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
I don't like sand.
I'd rather not have breathing problems.
Yeah. Logically dashing. Oh, so you rather sound like Yoda? Interesting answer that is.
Nobody would ever take you. Nobody would ever take you seriously, man.
Yeah.
Like, how could you take that seriously? Yeah.
I already mix up my words like that sometimes anyway. So
you sound like they'd be like, yo, man, you sound like a Muppet.
I'm with Brett. I'm picking Yoda just because I don't want those respiratory issues.
Yeah, but you sound cool though. Even the respiratory shit, like that sounds scary. I rather scare somebody than make them make fun of me. You know.
But I feel like they'll give me sleeping problems, and I'm like, nah. I'd rather just
sleep
sound funny.
apnea.
Yeah, that shit can't be comfortable, man.
Yeah, it probably isn't, but I'd rather sound cool. You know. All right.
Yeah, I'll go with sounding cool.
Yeah, I want to go with the breathing problem and sounding cool. All right.
I mean, also Yoda can still flip, like jump around and do backflips.
No, but it's just the voice. It's just the voice.
but-
It's just the voice. It's just the voice.
But Brett,
Like, no,
Brett, you
voice and breathing.
you would
He
be
said
living.
and breathing.
Yeah, no, but that's what he said. But there's no physical attributes. Like you can't be jumping around. There's no Jedi powers. You know.
No, I'm saying Darth Vader can't be jumping around. Yoda has the lungs to be jumping around and shit like that. Darth Vader got asthma and shit.
Yeah. But I'm not a physical guy anyway, so I'm okay. You know.
Motherfucker can't even run.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm a
How much
writer. I
do
don't
you
need to
run
be
these
physical.
days, Brett?
Yeah, I'm a physical. Yeah. That's a good point, Brett. You don't run much these days.
No, but still, like I don't like.
I want the protection to run. Damn it!
Emphysema runs in my family. I've seen the horror of that shit. Nah, I'm good. I'm good, son. I quit smoking for that very reason because I don't want to be up with that shit. Especially when you take away the force powers. Like, you think that motherfucker walking upstairs without the force?
Yeah.
And that breathing problem? Nah.
Well, he's also half cyborg, which is part of your dream.
Yeah, but like he's all shitty cyborg. Like,
Well, that's because
if you read any of the canon,
the
like,
Emperor gave him a shitty outfit.
Like he's the worst kind. Like he doesn't have to have those breathing problems. It isn't just he's on the Empire version of Medicaid, so like that's what he gets.
Yes, you get the loner robotics. Meanwhile, we have what the hell was that other guy's name? The stupid the other cyborg guy, The one with all the lightsabers and the 4 arms.
General Grievous.
General Grievous.
General Grievous.
Yeah. That's funny.
He was coughing all the time.
He was coughing, yeah.
He was all coughing because of that stupid thing that may have not happened in the Clone Wars. Remember they crushed his crushed his lung machines.
All right, move on. Oh, this question is actually for me. Oh boy.
Who is it?
Jay Shep. Tony seems to be a very critical and hard to please person, which in turn makes him a great reviewer in the gaming industry. Tony, is there any form of entertainment that consistently delivers for you? Examples would be comics, movies, series, anime, actors, etc. I actually have an answer because you're right. Most of these things are trash now. Comics are fucking trash. Movies are largely trash. Most things do not. That's funny. But there's one thing. Entertainment that entertains me all the time that never falters me. Metal. There's never been a point where I'm like, oh, metal fucking trash. Sucks. Always fucking good. And the thing is, with metal, I'm still listening to new albums from my favorite bands, and they're still great. I listen to this shit, I'm still happy. And even like the newer bands that are like brand new, I listen to them like, it is pretty good. So yes, that's my answer. I mostly don't like most of the things I used to love, but heavy metal does not let me down, man. And when I go to concerts too, I'm like, yeah, man, like that fucking, the feel is still there, So I'm very happy I still have that. I've lost everything except metal. Metal will never die, So there you go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about this? And I don't know your answer, but what about technology?
It's entertainment. This is for entertainment.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's for entertainment, yeah. Because there's some cool tech going on. But yeah, it's for entertainment specifically. This one's funny, Carlos. What did that text message say that Carlos sent to Tony about Final Fantasy 16? Was it about the Chocobos?
Oh, yeah, it was about the Chocobos.
Yeah, so basically, Carlos, you could tell the story.
And I posted a meme on my Twitter the other day. Like, what was it, like this weekend, right?
Yeah, it was this weekend. Yeah.
So I asked Tony a question about Final Fantasy 16 because I didn't want to spoil anything. Because I played the entire Final Fantasy 16 game without using chocobos, and I felt like that was weird, but it was just something that I did because it just they didn't naturally come up. You had to do a side quest to get it, and it was the one side quest that I always ignored because it was just some random dude chilling by a freaking ditch, or not a ditch, like a bridge area. So yeah, and then I asked Tony, I'm like, yo, Tony, so can you ride chocobos in this game? And then Tony went off.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck, really? And again, this is why you don't skip side quests. You got to do everything, But yeah, I was like, wait, you played the whole game without chocobos? What? Because you need it. Like, there's some of those sections they're just, this obviously. You walked on foot the entire time. Yeah. The chocobo there makes it a lot more efficient.
I
ran everywhere, and
I ran. Oh man!
But I mean, they stuck to your guns. They let you have the agency of whether to have a chocobo or not.
That's true.
Like, man, I don't need no chocobos. I'm gonna run off this desert.
Well, and I told Tony this when we were talking about it. I feel like chocobos in Final Fantasy 15 were a lot more required. Like it's like that one's super open.
Yeah, well, in 15 you get in a car,
Yeah, well, you have a car, you have chocobos, but in 16 it's like really kind of just narrow the map. It's like you just walk from point A to point B. So it was a lot more easy to just play the game without using chocobos.
Yeah,
lots of fast travel too.
Yeah, lots of fast travel. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. And then the final question, and then this epic episode of Throwdown Your Questions, man. Episode 450. This one very interesting. Are well-known people in the gaming industry supportive of one another generally, or is there any hating behind the scenes? Oh yes, there's absolutely a lot of hating. Here's the thing: when it comes to support, people support their own niches. They support their own cliques. They don't really support each other as a whole. Like motherfuckers like Greg Miller ain't supporting me. Let's just be real here. But he will support his people. There's like, I'll support my people, you know? And yes, there is obviously a lot of bickering and fighting and shit behind the scenes. A lot of nasty shit that you don't see publicly that I've seen myself. And I'm not going to name any names and stuff, but, you know, basically the gaming industry, I liken it to high school, you know? Basically a lot of cliques and shit. People kind of stick to their own. There's a lot of both G going on and shit.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, you know, a lot of fake fucking people too. A lot of people trying to use each other to get ahead, you know. But there's also some good stuff. Like when you find your people, man, they will support you. You know, like again, I've been rocking with Richard Bailey and Gary fucking forever. You know, like those guys always got my back. So you know, when you find those people, that's why you know when we were going to E3 and shit, like I had gotten to a point where I could hang out with more prominent people. Fuck that, I'm hanging out with my dudes. You know, with Richard and those guys. You know, because those are real motherfuckers. You know, a lot of fakes in this industry, man. You know. But I guess you could say that about any kind of entertainment industry. But yeah, there's a lot of that, you know, a lot of, again, Manny, remember our first E3? I was like, this is a lot like high school, man, you know?
No, I mean, to be honest, a lot of industries are like that.
Yeah, they are.
It's like, you know, there's the people that rise to the top and the ones that, you know, people want to get close to because they're sort of well known. And then there's the grinders, you know, and then there's the people coming up. So it's all pretty much the same, which you would wish it wasn't that way, though. And you hear a lot of people talking about unity and all kinds of other stuff, but it really isn't that way. There is lines.
Yeah,
and, you know.
And Manny, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Like, you've always said that you felt, even though you know at that point you weren't in the game industry, you felt more welcome in the game industry than you did in the comic industry, which is crazy to me. You know,
because because there's a lot of egos in the comic industry. There's a lot of posturing, people trying to get over on each other, and it's a shrinking industry. So everybody's scrambling to get what they can get. You know, obviously there are a lot of people later on in the industry, you know, like older in the industry, which are willing to sort of do it, but it's very sort of cutthroat. It's very much about who you are, you know, not about about if I know you, rather than the work that you have done or any of the other stuff. So it feels very closed door. But I do feel like as the years go on, this sort of changes, especially with some of the younger people in there, sort of like more open to it. But you'll find that a lot of the other ones are like some older cats are like some people who went through the industry. They're sort of just very much like the magician who doesn't tell his own secrets.
Yeah.
They just keep very closed door, and like you come in here to take my job type of stuff, which is like, yo, isn't the industry big enough for us all? But
apparently not. But I wanted to illustrate that just to show, even though as fucked up as the gaming industry could be, there are industries that are worse.
There are. I wouldn't say it was worse. I would just say it's all pretty much the same once you get into. But I feel like when it comes to like that, and that's what Tony's talking about, is the journalism tip. I mean, obviously there's still a little bit of that in the weeds of the actual game industry, but I feel like because just for the plain fact, for most developers, there's no, your name is not going to be on the top of anything. You're just the 100th name down the line, right? So where's the ego on that?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
If we're all sitting in the shit, then it's hey wait, your shit's a little lighter than the others. It's the same. So I feel like that's why there's a little bit more openness and a little more acceptance in the game industry than I would say in the comic industry.
Yeah, good stuff, man. All right. Barry Burton, this will be the real last question of the night. He goes, I'll ask the same question I ask every year. What is best in life?
What was it?
Slay your enemies, see them driven before you, hear the lamentations of
their women.
Yep. That's best in life.
Slay your enemies.
See them driven before you. Hear the lamentations of the women.
Lamentation of the women.
The women. All right, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Epic episode as always for Throwdown. Again, I was like, oh, well, I don't have work tomorrow. Let's fucking go. None of us do.
Let's go.
Yeah. So crazy stuff, man. So I want to thank everybody that's been following us for the last 9 years. Both shows. Crazy. 900 episodes total, which is fucking insane if you think about it. So yeah, pretty much everything we said on the Thursday show, mean it. You guys are great. We wouldn't be here without you. And it's just fun doing this every twice a week, man. Talk about games. It's good times, man. Like Manny said, like you go back to those older episodes, you see us like just aging and shit in real time. It's interesting, man. So we'll keep this going until I don't know if Throwdown will ever go into retirement. We'll see what happens. I don't know if there's a retirement plan for Throwdown. Maybe when like our digits can't physically do it anymore. But maybe by then, I don't know. They'll have some kind of headset. Oh God, no! I don't want to do that. Put a headset on and play Super Mario Brothers on NES.
Or we're all replaced with AI duplicates of ourselves.
Yeah, the Throwdown AI crew. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, no. Shout out to the fans as always. You guys are fucking great. Mighty Nerd. I see you over there. Brooklyn Bear. Logic wins. Barry Byrne holding it down. Good stuff, man. So yeah, we're gonna keep the train going as always. So we'll be back next week with another new episode. Who knows what'll happening in the game industry? But we will have games to talk about. There are actually games coming out.
Yep.
So
we got some games and we had some reveals too, which is fun.
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. All right. Let's plug some stuff. Brett, I know you actually have something to plug.
I do actually. So there is a publication in Kansas City called The Pitch that does a yearly kind of best of awards. And I found out today that I've been nominated for best tattoo artist category, along with like a handful of other people. So if any of y'all listen to this, you can head over to vote.thepitchkc.com and vote for me for best tattoo artist in Kansas City. Even though none of y'all probably know a whole lot who I am, but
don't fucking matter. Go vote, motherfuckers. Go vote.
Yo, man. Yo, man. Vote harder, man. Vote. Everybody vote.
Was a vote or die?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Vote or die.
Like, honestly, man, like there's some heavy hitters on that list. It's just real cool to be included. So that's dope as fuck.
That's fucking awesome, dude. I'm happy for you, man. That's great.
Yeah, man.
Yo, Brett,
recognition, baby.
Brett, could you send us the link on the Discord?
Yeah, I want to toss it into the chat right now,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so give us a second here. But again, man, I want to give you guys a shout out for hanging out with us for 4 fucking hours, basically, That shit is crazy, But again, we've never, ever gotten any complaints about a long episodes, ever, It's crazy, man, the longevity of the show, And I was just random and stuff. I was talking about how long I've been reviewing games. I was talking, by the way, that's what I want to plug while Brett's doing that. Gamertag Radio. I'm going to be on the next episode of Gamertag Radio. This happened off the cuff. Off the cuff this morning, Danny hit me up like, yo, like you want to record something on the Lenovo Legion Go? I'm like, I got to bounce by like 2:00 today. And he was like, you want to record now? I'm like, okay, let's record, So that episode will be up soon. And Manny, I talked to Danny. We will try to get that going on Tuesday, So that'll be the next round interviews. So
let's see, Tuesday night. Tuesday. Okay, I'm coming back on Tuesday morning, so I should be good.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Yeah, because he can't do Wednesday. So because that's what we give him a choice and shit. So we'll have Danny on. That's gonna be fun, and Rihanna as well. That'll be really cool. Because that's when she records on Wednesday. So that's why we're like Tuesday would probably be better.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually never really talked very much to Rihanna.
Yeah,
maybe during when she was doing the promotional days.
Yeah,
but never really had all the very much contact. So it's going to be interesting to talk to her.
Yeah, you'll like her. She's good people. Carlos,
No, I mean,
yeah.
if she's Danny's wife, that she's cool people already.
By the way, while we're getting that, I gotta talk to you guys about the best clapback ever, man. So Danny, the other day, he on Twitter he said, "I've played Starfield for 80 hours. I love this game. It's fantastic." And some piece of shit comes in there, goes, "Go get laid." Danny with the ill clapback. He replies with a picture of his pregnant wife. Like, yeah, bitch. You know. Great. Brett, do we have that URL ready?
Yeah, send it in the Discord.
Okay, Carlos, can you post that into the Twitch chat? And that'll be that. I'll do that. And, so yeah, anything else we need to plug? I'm Negan. Is that coming back?
Yes, I Am Negan is coming back this weekend. We are doing the Daryl Dixon show, aka the Double D show. It goes live this Sunday at thecoalition.com. That's the coalition with a K. The show is called I Am Negan, where we talk everything and anything Walking Dead universe. And yeah, Daryl Dixon's gonna make his comeback. He's gonna be in France, which is interesting. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, the nuke. Adam, and shout out to Adam Vale, who hosts the show, and Mr. Richard Bailey Jr., who's also part of the show. We're gonna be making sure to have that ready as soon as possible this weekend. So stay tuned.
Yo, Carlos, are you not an admin?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, because when you tried to post a link, it like blocked it. I got to do something. I got to give you permissions. But I dropped it in there though, so we're good. And we'll also drop it in the main Throwdown Discord room too. You know. So yeah, man, that's gonna do it for us. Throwdown episode 450 of Throwdown Questions. You can hear me. I'm getting tired with this long episode, bro. Fuck, you know. But anyway, make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations, the rumors are always popping, and where you guys always leave us all the topics for each week's show inadvertently. You know, it helps me out, so I don't have to just sift through shit. I just go right through the Discord, which is always great. Throwdown Show. We are on every podcast app, whatever you're listening to. We're there. Spotify, iTunes, all that shit. Your favorite podcast app, we're on it. There are some podcast apps I don't even know about that we're on. You know, we're also on IMDb for some reason. It's crazy.
Yep.
Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you have been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the videos, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Little late, but see you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
Later, people.
All right, people, you already know, man. We'll see you on Thursday. Later.
Laters.